Chapter 683. 683 The Identity of the King of Hell. The red-haired old monster was the same as the spiritual practitioner with the frost saber. He had also been injured in the formation, but the severity of his injuries was unknown. If he had retained his combat strength, which was similar to or even stronger than the spiritual practitioner with the frost saber, they would be in trouble. But today it was impossible to kill the spiritual practitioner Han Dao. The spiritual practitioner Han Dao and the crimson old monster closed in on Lu Ming and the other two. In the surroundings, everyone was watching with rapt attention. They were all extremely curious in their hearts. Would the three geniuses who were like the sun at midday die at the hands of two old monsters? Buzz. At this moment, a golden pagoda appeared on King Yama's body. The golden pagoda emitted a dazzling golden light that was even more dazzling than the sun. The rays of golden light seemed to be extremely sharp sword chi. Golden Light Sword Pagoda. The spiritual warrior Han Dao and the crimson old monster couldn't help but exclaim when they saw the golden pagoda. It's the Golden Light Sword Pagoda. Around him the others also exclaimed in shock. You're from the Gold Sword sect. The red-haired old monster said with a serious expression. To the west of the chaotic astral ocean, there is a large domain called the Golden Light Domain. In the eastern wastelands the Golden Light Domain is extremely famous. It's not a small domain, but rather a large domain with extremely terrifying strength. The number one sect in the Golden Light region was the Golden Sword sect. Although the Golden Light region was also under the control of the Emperor Heaven Divine Palace, and the Golden Sword sect was also a subordinate force of the Emperor Heaven Divine Palace, the Golden Sword sect's authority in the Golden Light region was extremely great. It was almost on the same level as the Emperor Heaven Divine Palace's branch palace in the Golden Light region. From this, one could see how powerful the Golden Sword sect was. As for the Golden Light Sword Pagoda, it was owned only by the true geniuses of the Golden Sword sect. It was extremely famous and had exposed the fact that the Starry Sea was close to the Golden Light region, so it was natural that he had heard of it. I'm Jian Filiu. The King of Hell slowly reported his name. What? You're Jian Filiu from the Golden Sword sect, the 788th on the list of top 1,000 talents in the Eastern Barren Territory. As soon as King Yama finished speaking, the red-haired old monster and the spiritual practitioner Han Dao's expressions changed. A series of exclamations rang out in the surroundings. Hell King was Jian Filiu, who was ranked 788th on the list of top 1,000 talents in the Eastern Barren Territory. Many people were shocked. Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing's gazes flickered as well. They had heard of Jian Filiu, who was on the list of top 1,000 talents in the Eastern Barren Territory. He was ranked 788th, much stronger than Li Xiaoyan. Old Ghost Cold Saber, let's just forget about today's matter. The red-haired old monster's expression changed as he spoke to the spiritual practitioner Han Dao. He wasn't afraid of Jian Filiu, but he was afraid of the Gold Sword sect behind Jian Filiu. What are you afraid of? If we kill them today and find a small island to hide on, will the Metal Sword sect be able to find us? The spiritual practitioner Han Dao revealed a vicious look and said, Moreover, these kids all have precious treasures. We'll split them evenly. Ready? Don't be so gutless. The spiritual practitioner Han Dao's eyes were cold. Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing entered the hall. When they went in to take a look, it was empty. Even the flood dragon was gone. He speculated that Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing must have obtained the treasure inside. Moreover, his hatred for Lu Ming was too strong. He would not be satisfied if he did not kill Lu Ming. Jian Filiu had gotten the treasure from the other palace, so he didn't want to let them go. The red-haired old monster's expression also changed. He was also very tempted by the treasure that could catch the attention of the spiritual practitioner. Han Bing, if you want to kill us, let's see if you have the ability. You think I don't have life-saving items on me when I'm out adventuring? From another perspective, if I control the Golden Sword Pagoda with all my might, do you think you can stop me? I'm confident that I can kill one of you. Which one of you is here to die? Jian Filiu sneered as he looked at the Ice Spirit Warrior and the Red Monster. The Ice Spirit Warrior and the Red Monster's faces turned ugly. They knew that Jian Filiu was right. Would a heaven's favorite like Jian Filiu not have any life-saving items? The Golden Sword Pagoda was also a famous treasure. With Jian Filiu's cultivation, it was difficult to control it. However, if he was forced to fight to the death, one of them might be killed. Brother Jian, there's no need to waste words with them. I also have something on me. If I use it with all my might, it'll be enough to kill one of them," Lu Ming said coldly. This caused the expressions of the icy spiritual being and the red monster to change again, and they could not help but retreat a distance. They had no choice but to believe that Lu Ming was telling the truth. Lu Ming was so young and his combat strength was not inferior to Jianfiliu's. He was definitely from a major force. It was very possible that he had a treasure on him to protect himself. Moreover, there was still Xian Yanqing. They began to hesitate. This was the advantage of being a powerful force. It was not something that these itinerant cultivators could compare to. Lu Ming looked at the spiritual practitioner Han Dao and the crimson old monster coldly. What he said just now was half true and half false. He did have a killer move, which was the Thunder Cauldron. However, if he used the Thunder Cauldron, he would be at the mercy of others. In such an environment, Lu Ming did not intend to use the Thunder Cauldron at all. He only said it to scare the Cold Saber spiritual practitioner and the crimson old monster. In my opinion, let's just forget about today's matter. After pondering for a while, the red-haired old monster spoke. Obviously, he didn't dare to gamble with his life. Spiritual practitioner Han Dao's expression was unsightly and he was very unwilling. However, since the crimson old monster had retreated, he could not do anything to Lu Ming and the others. If he was not careful, he might even be killed by them. "You little bastards, just wait until I recover from my injuries and see how I'll kill you," the spiritual practitioner Han Dao roared in his heart. If he was in his prime, he was absolutely confident that he could kill Lu Ming and Jianfiliu before they could use their secret treasures. "Let's go." The spiritual practitioner Han Dao glanced at Lu Ming and the others. He and the crimson old monster turned into two streaks of light and flew into the distance, disappearing from this place. Boom, boom, boom. At this moment, the seven-colored island had completely disappeared into the void. The void had returned to its calm state. "How should I address you? I really admire your cultivation and battle strength." Jianfiliu kept the golden sword pagoda and cupped his fists at Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing. "I'm Lu Ming." Lu Ming also cupped his fists and smiled. "Xian Yanqing." Xian Yanqing said coldly. "Lu Ming? Xian Yanqing?" Jianfiliu thought for a while. Apparently he had never heard of these two people. Then he smiled bitterly and said, "I've heard that many geniuses and proud sons of heaven have emerged in this golden age. It seems it's true. I've met geniuses who are on the same level as those on the list of top 1,000 talents along the way. There are more than 5 of them now. No wonder the secret Chamber of Commerce didn't release a new list when it was time for the list to be updated. I guess there are too many new geniuses, and it's hard for the Chamber of Commerce to control all of them." Lu Ming nodded. He was puzzled too. The list of top 1,000 talents would be updated once every 2 years. According to the time, the 2 years should have passed. However, the new list of top 1,000 talents had not been updated. It was obviously related to the current era. The great era was coming and the geniuses were rising. Although the secret Chamber of Commerce was powerful, it was difficult to control all of them. If he wanted to know how many geniuses there were, he could only wait until the Battle of Providence began. Chapter 684. 684 Spirit Ring. Jianfiliu showed off his abilities in battle, but he was still very easygoing. Moreover, when they were on the Rainbow Island, he could have taken the opportunity to escape, but he turned around to help Lu Ming and the rest deal with the spiritual practitioner Han Dao. His character was not bad and Lu Ming had a good impression of him. Xian Yanqing stood at the side and did not say anything. Lu Ming chatted with Jianfiliu for a while before Jianfiliu bade him farewell. "Brother Lu Wuxia, we can't stay on the Golden Sand Island for long. If the spiritual practitioner Han Dao recovers, he will definitely not let you go. I plan to leave the Golden Sand Island. What about you?" Jianfiliu said. "Yes, we are too." Lu Ming nodded. "All right then, see you again if we're fated." Jianfiliu cupped his fists and disappeared. "Let's go." Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing looked at each other and left the place. News of this battle was bound to spread, and it would spread even further. Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing were indeed planning to leave Golden Sand Island. During this period of time, Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing had gained a lot. They needed to find a quiet place to digest their gains. Xian Yanqing's Destruction Intent Realm and Wind Intent Realm were about to merge successfully. She needed to find a place to seclude herself and break through in one go. As for Lu Ming, he had yet to take a good look at the prison-suppressing heavenly art that he had obtained from the prison-suppressing steel. Also, the seven-colored Taoist's mental energy fire was constantly being refined. He needed to go into seclusion for a period of time to properly digest it. The two of them flew toward the west of the Golden Sand Island. Soon, they crossed the entire Golden Sand Island and arrived at the western seaside. Lu Ming's hand moved and a map appeared in his hand. This is the map of the chaotic astral ocean that he bought on Golden Sand Island. On the map, there is an ocean with countless stars in it. Those are islands. Golden Sand Island was relatively close to the east. After a while, Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing rose into the air and flew west. They planned to find an uninhabited island and cultivate in seclusion for a while. After Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing left, Jian Filiu appeared on the other side of the sea. With a move of his hand, a metal box appeared. On the metal box, inscriptions circulated and sealed the metal box. I got this from the palace on the Rainbow Island. It's marked with the words, "Secret key to the Martial Emperor's treasure." I wonder if it's real? Jian Filiu murmured as his eyes glowed. The words "Martial Emperor's treasure" were too attractive. Regardless of whether it's real or fake, it must be extraordinary since it's in the seven-colored Taoist collection. Unfortunately, there's an inscription formation sealing it. It looks like I'll have to spend some time to open the seal. After saying that, Jian Filiu put away the iron box and flew out of the Great Sea, disappearing in the blink of an eye. Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing were extremely fast. After flying for 2 days, they finally found a deserted island. The deserted island was not big, with a radius of less than 100 miles, and no one lived there. The two of them landed on the deserted island and sorted out the things they had obtained on the Rainbow Island. And NBSP, he had obtained quite a few things this time. Supreme-grade spirit crystals, cultivation techniques, and even intent crystals were quite abundant. Spirit herbs were the most abundant. The two of them split it evenly, then each found a place and began to cultivate in seclusion. Dandan, take advantage of this time to inscribe inscriptions above level 4. Also, give me some inscription arrays. I have time to study them. In Dandan's mind, who knew how many inscriptions and inscription formations she had mastered, so she naturally had to make good use of them. Exchange it with spirit herbs. Dandan took the opportunity to ask for spirit herbs. Take it. Lu Ming took out a handful of level 5 spiritual medicine and threw it to Dandan. On the Rainbow Island, Lu Ming had obtained a lot of spirit herbs and was rich. Dandan took the spirit herb and ran off to inscribe inscriptions. Lu Ming sat cross-legged, his mind sinking into his sea of consciousness. In his sea of consciousness, 10 green spirit lamps were burning. That's right. Lu Ming had lit up 10 green spirit lamps over the past few days and had reached the perfect stage of a 4th-level alchemist. Next, he was going to break through to become a 5th-rank inscriber. Becoming a 5th-rank alchemist was a hurdle. Once crossed, there would be a qualitative change. A true alchemist would have terrifying combat power. Lu Ming activated the meditation of the Dark God. The core flowing flame in his sea of consciousness burned even more fiercely, continuously refining the mental fire of the seven-colored Taoist. The spiritual fire of the seven-colored Taoist had already shrunk, but there was still a lot left. In the near future, Lu Ming's mental energy would still advance by leaps and bounds. And NBSP hoo-hoo. Wisps of mental energy fire floated down and fused with Lu Ming's own mental energy fire. His mental energy fire grew stronger and stronger. 3 hours later, the 10 green mind lamps suddenly went out. Then, on the first mind lamp, a wisp of flame slowly appeared. It was a green flame. Green mental fire, a level 5 alchemist. Boom. The moment the green flame appeared, Lu Ming's mind shook and there was a loud rumble. Buzz. At this moment, 5 halos of 5 colors suddenly appeared above Lu Ming's head. At the bottom was a red ring of light. On the ring of light, there were 10 evenly distributed dots that emitted a bright light like the stars. Counting from the bottom to the top, the second halo was orange and also had 10 dots. It was extremely resplendent. The third halo was yellow and also had 10 dots. The fourth halo was green and also had 10 dots. Only the fifth light ring was different. It was green, but there was only 1 dot on it. Spirit ring. Lu Ming's heart stirred. As long as an inscriber reached level 5, they would have a spirit ring. Each color of the spirit ring represented the corresponding level. For example, the bottommost ring represented a first-level alchemist, and the 10 points on top represented the number of spirit lamps lit. In the first 4 levels, Lu Ming had lit up 10 mental lamps. Hence there were 10 bright spots. If he only lit up 5 lamps at a certain level, there would only be 5 bright spots. The spiritual ring could clearly show the cultivation state of an inscriber. With a thought, he put away the spirit ring. Immediately, Lu Ming's mind sank into the green mental energy fire. Boom. In an instant, Lu Ming's mental energy extended out of his body and flew out, floating in the air. At this moment, the entire world was colorful in his eyes. Red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple. Lu Ming could clearly sense the various colors, heaven and earth attributes and energies. What a wonderful feeling. Lu Ming was extremely curious. His mental energy continued to extend out. However, the further it went, the weaker the energy Lu Ming felt. Let's test the power of the great inscription formation. Lu Ming's mind returned and he stood up. Ta. Ta. He stomped on the ground and runes appeared on the ground. These runes intersected and gathered, forming an inscription formation. Bang. As Lu Ming took his last step, a combat sword flew out of the formation and slashed at a mound. Bang. The mound was split in half. As expected, an inscription formation can channel the power of heaven and earth to unleash a powerful attack. Is this what a true rank 5 inscriber is? It's indeed wonderful. Lu Ming's eyes flickered. Chapter 685. 685 Comprehending the Fourth Force. He had just stepped into level 5 and had only lit 1 lamp of mind. Later on, the more lamps of mind he lit, the more powerful inscription arrays he would be able to master, and the more powerful his attack power would be. The big array that Lu Ming had just carved was only a level 3 array and its attack power was limited. The combat strength of an inscription master was related to the strength of their mental energy fire, but it was also greatly related to the inscription formation they mastered. The stronger one's mental energy fire was, the more heaven and earth power one could control. The more powerful the formation was, the more terrifying its power would be. The 7-colored Taoist's mental energy fire has some experience. He even has alchemy techniques and the Tao of array formations. However, it's too complicated now. I'll sort it out after I refine all of his mental energy fire. Now I'll just wait for the inscriptions and the array. Before that, I'll put the Tao of inscription aside. In any case, the earth core flowing flame was refining the 7-colored Taoist's mental energy fire at all times. His mental energy fire was becoming stronger at all times, so he didn't need to care about it now. Prison Suppressing Steel. Lu Ming planned to study the second bloodline Prison Suppressing Steel and the Prison Suppressing Heaven technique. With a thought, the Prison Suppressing Steel appeared. Prison Guarding Steel, what is it suppressing? The 9 hells? Lu Ming smiled faintly. The fog in front of the Prison Suppressing Steel had dispersed, but the other places were still shrouded in fog, looking very mysterious. What? At this moment, Lu Ming suddenly realized that he could feel an extremely heavy feeling lingering in his heart. It was extremely clear. This is the earth? Yes, this is the earth force. Lu Ming's heart stirred. He stepped on the ground and slowly he seemed to have become one with the earth. Earth force, yes, this is the earth force. The Prison Suppressing Steel is really amazing. It can actually let me feel the earth force so clearly. Lu Ming knew very well that this was all because of the Prison Suppressing Steel. In the past, he did not have such a feeling when he was standing on the ground. However, he had it now. It seemed that the Prison Suppressing Steel was very compatible with the earth. Lu Ming had a feeling that as long as he wanted to comprehend the earth force now, he would be able to do so very quickly and master it. Do I need to comprehend it? Lu Ming was a little hesitant. Once he comprehended earth force, the force he could control, and even the heaven-earth intent realm, would become 4 types. His cultivation speed would definitely become slower. The more intense one comprehended, the greater the repelling force would be, and the harder it would be to cultivate. Lu Ming had to consider it. Let's take a look at the Prison Suppressing Heavenly Art first before considering. Lu Ming sat cross-legged and closed his eyes. The information about the Prison Suppressing Heaven technique appeared in his mind. During this period of time, he had not properly looked at the Prison Suppressing Heaven technique. Instantly, all the information related to the Prison Suppressing Heaven technique reverberated in Lu Ming's mind. After more than an hour, Lu Ming opened his eyes. What a wondrous martial technique! Lu Ming's eyes revealed a hint of surprise. Without a doubt, the Prison Suppressing Heaven art was a martial skill and a bloodline martial skill. However, it was very different from other martial skills. First of all, the prison-suppressing heavenly art did not have any fixed moves. It was more like a battle technique. After successfully cultivating it, one could use the power of the bloodline to suppress everything with the power of the prison-suppressing steel in every punch, palm, and even kick. The power was extremely terrifying. When one reached the highest level, not only could they use their hands and feet, but every part of their body could be used for battle. Their back and shoulders could contain the power of the prison-suppressing steel and release terrifying attacks, turning them into killing weapons. Also, the prison-suppressing heavenly art didn't have a specific grade, and it had a lot to do with bloodline power. The stronger the bloodline power, the more powerful the prison-suppressing steel would be. If a 9th-level king bloodline was awakened, the power of the prison suppression heavenly art could barely reach the power of the first level of a low-tier demigod martial technique. If a first-level divine bloodline was awakened, the power of the prison suppression heavenly art could even reach the power of the 6th level of a low-tier demigod martial technique. Demigod level. Lu Ming's eyes glowed brightly. For others, the level of the bloodline that they could awaken was fixed. However, Lu Ming could keep on advancing. This martial arts technique was simply too suitable for him. However, the prison-suppressing heaven technique had a requirement, which was to use the earth mentality as the main force to unleash the strongest power. This was because the earth mentality was the most compatible with the prison-suppressing steel. Looks like I still need to comprehend earth force. Lu Ming's lips curled into a bitter smile. However, Lu Ming made a decision very quickly. He would comprehend it. Comprehending the momentum of the earth and the will of the earth would greatly increase his combat strength. Moreover, if he were to integrate the will of the earth into the Dragon God's 3 absolutes in the future, the Dragon God's 3 absolutes would transform into a low-grade demigod martial technique. Could be said to be killing 3 birds with 1 stone. Lu Ming went through the details of the prison-suppressing heavenly technique in his mind in detail. Then the prison-suppressing steel's bloodline emerged. Lu Ming planned to start comprehending the force of the earth. When he had some mastery over it, he would combine it with the force of the earth and cultivate the prison-suppressing heavenly technique together. He took out the path understanding ancient tree and placed it beside him. Lu Ming's mind became extremely clear. He seemed to have become one with the ground. He seemed to see the island going all the way down to the bottom of the ocean, merging with the endless earth. A feeling of heaviness, magnificence, vastness and vicissitudes rippled in Lu Ming's heart. After an unknown period of time, Lu Ming's body also exuded a heavy, grand, vast and ancient feeling. Earth force elementary level. At this moment Lu Ming opened his eyes. He suddenly stood up and struck out with his palm. Boom. This palm seemed to be extremely heavy as if it could crush space. There was an explosion and Lu Ming stopped. He frowned and muttered, "No again." At this moment he was cultivating the prison-suppressing heaven technique. Boom. Boom. Lu Ming used his palm, his fist and his fingers at times, slashing at the air continuously. Just like that, Lu Ming cultivated for 3 consecutive days. 3 days later, every time he struck out with his palm, it was as if his palm contained a huge mountain, causing the air to rumble and explode. After cultivating for more than 10 minutes, Lu Ming heaved a long sigh of relief. After 3 days of cultivation, the prison-suppressing heaven technique could be considered to be at the beginner level. However, Lu Ming could only use it with his hands now. There was still a long way to go before he could use it with his feet. As for using it with his entire body, the distance was even greater. For the past few days, Lu Ming did not continue to comprehend earth force. He wanted to take advantage of the fact that the earth force was still at a low level to integrate it into the other 3 intents. Otherwise, when the earth force was at a high level, it would be even more difficult to integrate. The stronger the fire, the stronger the rejection. Let's go and see how little Qing's cultivation is going. Lu Ming walked to the other side of the island. Xian Yanqing was cultivating on the other side of the island. When they arrived at the other side of the island, they saw Xian Yanqing standing by the shore, frowning in deep thought. Chapter 686. 686 Closed Door Cultivation. Little Qing, have you encountered any problems in your cultivation? Lu Ming walked over and stood side by side with Xian Yanqing. Xian Yanqing's dress and black hair fluttered in the sea breeze. At this moment, Xian Yanqing looked like a goddess who had descended to the mortal world. I don't know why. The destruction intent and the wind intent are always lacking a little and can't be combined. Xian Yanqing said. Could it be that the destruction intent is too strong so the rejection force is stronger? Lu Ming made a guess. Not bad. Xian Yanqing nodded. Indeed, it was as Lu Ming had guessed. The will of destruction was an extremely powerful and terrifying will. It could destroy everything and was even more powerful than the star will of the Saint Stars. As for the wind concept, it was one of the 9 commonly seen concepts. Compared to the destruction concept, there was still a gap. Hence, it was even more difficult to fuse them. This was like a poor man and a rich man trying to become friends. It was very difficult. However, it was much easier for 2 poor people or 2 rich people to become friends. The destruction intent realm was equivalent to the rich, while the wind intent realm was equivalent to the poor. They were on different levels, and to put it more accurately, it was the destruction intent realm, which disdained to merge with the wind intent realm. Lu Ming pondered for a moment, then said, Little Qing, try to use this to comprehend. He waved his hand, and the path understanding ancient tree appeared on the ground. At first, Xian Yanqing was stunned, but after sensing it, her expression changed drastically. As she sensed it more carefully, her expression became more and more interesting. Could this be the legendary path understanding ancient tree? Xian Yanqing looked at Lu Ming, his voice trembling. His eyes were filled with disbelief. That's right. I'm lucky to have obtained a withered branch of the path understanding ancient tree. I didn't think that it would actually sprout. Lu Ming smiled faintly. You're showing me such a valuable thing. Aren't you afraid that I'll have evil thoughts and take it away? Xian Yanqing blinked his big eyes and looked at Lu Ming. Will you? Lu Ming smiled. Puchi. Xian Yanqing laughed out loud. At this moment, her smile was extremely bright and happy. Her beautiful eyes blinked as she stared at Lu Ming, as if she wanted to carve him into her heart. How is it? Are you very touched and are you going to devote your life to me? I'm not ready yet. Lu Ming said with a smile. Promise your head. Lend me this path understanding ancient tree for 2 days. Xian Yanqing's mouth twitched and his eyes flashed. Since you're so sincere, I'll reward you. With that, Xian Yanqing suddenly stood on his tiptoes and kissed Lu Ming on the cheek. Then, with a flushed face, he hugged the pill furnace that was planted with the ancient tree of enlightenment and ran to the side to cultivate. Hee. Lu Ming touched the spot where Xian Yanqing had kissed him and smiled foolishly. Brat, why did you come here? You made this lord search for you. Dandan's voice was heard. It strode with its short legs and ran wildly in the air, flying toward Lu Ming. Have you finished carving the inscription and inscription formation? Lu Ming looked at Dandan. Yes, it's done. I'm so tired, but let me tell you, my cultivation is limited. The highest I can inscribe is level 5 inscriptions and some level 5 inscription arrays. I can't do anything higher. I need to recover more first. Dandan spat out more than 10 jade tokens and handed them to Lu Ming. Only level 5. Lu Ming muttered. Little brat, I'm telling you, don't underestimate my inscription and inscription formation. I have mastered many inscriptions and inscription formations that you don't have here. They are all very rare and powerful. Many of the formations are not inferior to those level 6 formations. With your spiritual power, the power you can exert is definitely not weaker than ordinary level 6 formations. Dandan explained proudly. Oh, seeing that you've worked so hard, these spirit herbs are your reward. Lu Ming took out some level 5 spiritual herbs and threw them to Dandan. Dandan gritted her teeth. With its status, why did it need others to reward it? It was always the one who rewarded others. Now, Lu Ming, this young fellow, actually took out a few level 5 spiritual herbs and said that it was a reward. This made Dandan so angry that her turtle shell fluctuated. What's wrong? Don't. Lu Ming said. Yes, of course I want it. Dandan hurriedly put away the spirit herbs, warning herself in her heart that she had no choice but to lower her head when she was under the roof. Then he ran away happily. Lu Ming took out the jade card that Dandan gave him and started to read it. Some were level 4 and level 5 inscriptions, while some were all kinds of inscriptions and formations. After Lu Ming read it, he began to comprehend it. In the blink of an eye, another 3 days passed. Xian Yanqing returned the path understanding ancient tree to Lu Ming. How is it? Any gains? Lu Ming asked. I've gained something. Come, let's fight. I need strong pressure. Xian Yanqing said. That's exactly what I want. I was just looking for you to fight. Lu Ming smiled and the earth's force emanated from his body. He also wanted to fight Xian Yinqing and combine the Earth Force with the other three intents. Xian Yinqing's eyes widened and he exclaimed, "Earth Force, you've actually comprehended Earth Force again." "Yeah, there's no other way." Lu Ming sighed softly. "What a freak." Xian Yinqing mumbled. Lu Ming was speechless. Boom. Boom. After a while, deafening rumbles sounded on the island. In the sky above the island, two figures kept clashing, and the sky kept shaking. After exchanging a few hundred moves, the two of them stopped and began to comprehend. In the blink of an eye, half a month had passed. Every day the two of them would take out a period of time to fight to promote the fusion of intent. In the rest of his time, Lu Ming would cultivate the prison-suppressing heaven technique, comprehend and cultivate various inscriptions and fight with inscriptions. Lu Ming had gained a lot. He was improving every day. He was already able to inscribe many inscriptions and inscription formations that Dandan had given him. As for the prison-suppressing heaven technique, Lu Ming had already cultivated it to his feet. Every punch, palm and kick of Lu Ming seemed to contain a prison-suppressing steel that suppressed everything. However, using the prison-suppressing heavenly art really consumed too much true yuan. Lu Ming's essential core was much more vigorous than other martial artists of the same realm. However, it still consumed a lot of energy and he could not sustain many moves. He would use more than half of his primeval essence after a few moves. It should be known that even Sea of Soul realm experts rarely had low-grade demigod-level martial skills. Many low-level Sea of Soul realm experts had cultivated high-level heaven-level martial skills. Some unaffiliated cultivators who were poorer still cultivated heaven-level lower-class martial arts techniques. Normally, only high-level Sea of Soul realm experts could fully unleash the power of low-grade demigod martial techniques. The prison-suppressing heavenly art can be my trump card. I'll try not to use it often. Lu Ming pondered in his heart. As for the Earth Force, its fusion with the other three intents was also progressing very quickly. It was only a little bit away. After all, Lu Ming had the experience from the previous 2 times. In addition, the Earth Force was still very weak. It would be faster to merge it. As for Xian Yinqing, after such a long period of cultivation, he finally managed to merge the destruction and wind concepts successfully. Xian Yinqing's combat strength increased rapidly. The power of the fusion of the destruction and wind concepts shocked Lu Ming. On this day, the key to the Martial Emperor's treasure finally changed. Chapter 687. 687 9 keys appear at once. Lu Ming, the last key to the Martial Emperor's treasure has finally appeared. Xian Yinqing flew over with a small jade sword in his hand. Lu Ming's hand moved and a jade sword appeared. At this moment, the 9 patterns on the hilt all lit up. They flickered with a dazzling light. Lu Ming was also excited. The 9 keys had finally appeared. This meant that the Martial Emperor's treasure was about to be opened. "Let's pour in our true qi and see what changes there are," Lu Ming said. Xian Yinqing nodded. Together with Lu Ming, they poured their vital essence into the jade sword. The jade sword trembled slightly. Then a map appeared in the air. "There's a change." Lu Ming's eyes lit up. The map started to change. Slowly the dot enlarged. Lu Ming and the rest realized that the map of the chaotic astral ocean was getting bigger and bigger in front of their eyes. On the map, there was still a point that pointed to a certain place. As the map changes, all the other regions on the edge of the map have disappeared. Only the chaotic astral ocean is left on the entire map. That point points to a sea region to the north of the chaotic astral ocean. Their eyes lit up. Apparently, that was where the treasures of Martial Emperor were. Everyone, can you hear me?" At this moment, a voice came from the 2 jade swords. The voice was rough and sounded like a middle-aged man's. Lu Ming and Xian Yinqing were shocked. Why was there a sound? Could it be the artifact spirit of the jade sword, or the sound that was sealed inside when the jade sword was being refined? But at this moment, another voice was heard. "Who are you?" From the voice, it seemed to be a young man. Lu Ming and Xian Yinqing looked at each other. It did not seem to be what they had thought. "Everyone, you must have obtained the key to the Martial Emperor's treasure, right?" "I'm one of them." The rough voice began to speak again. "What a magical formation. It can actually transmit messages to each other. It seems like the 9 keys already have an owner." At this moment, an old voice was heard. It seemed to be an old man. "You Ming." "That's right, the 9 jade swords can communicate with each other. Where are you now?" We already know about the location of the treasure, so we should head over to open it. The rough voice continued. Hee, I've arrived in the chaotic astral ocean long ago. Old Oyu's voice sounded. I'm also in the chaotic astral ocean. The young voice rang out. I'm also in the chaotic astral ocean. At this moment, another voice was heard. It was a new voice, very young. Xian Yinqing and Lu Ming's expressions changed slightly when they heard the figure. They were familiar with the voice. Jianfiliu, that's right, it was Jianfiliu's voice. Lu Ming's eyes flickered. He activated his essential core and poured it into the sword. The King of Hell? The voice from the jade sword went silent. After a while it said, Shura? His voice was filled with surprise. Not bad, Lu Ming said. This time he was sure that the other party was really Jianfiliu. They didn't call each other by their real names. The martial emperor's treasure was a matter of great importance. They couldn't reveal this information now. It seems that some of you know each other. What a coincidence. Is anyone still here? I'm also in the chaotic astral ocean. Where are the others? A rough voice sounded. After that, there was a moment of silence. A moment later, another voice was heard. I'm in the chaotic astral ocean. I'm here too. Two new voices rang out in succession. In this way, a total of 7 voices were heard. Xian Yinqing didn't speak. Other than him, there was only one other person. Everyone, I estimate that there's still half a month's journey left. Everyone, why don't you wait for me at the treasure trove first? At this moment, a clear and melodious voice was heard. It was a woman's voice. She sounded very young and a little timid. Half a month. All right, we'll go over and wait for you. A rough voice sounded. Wait a minute. Let's discuss this first. The martial emperor's treasure is of great importance. No matter if it's real or fake, we can't reveal it. You guys didn't leak it, did you? Old Oyu's voice sounded. No. It's about the martial emperor's treasure. How could I tell anyone? I'm the only one. The others chimed in. That's good. Let's meet at the location of the treasure. Old Oyu's voice was heard, and then there was no other sound. Lu Ming and Xian Yinqing retracted their essential core and the map disappeared. Lu Ming, what do you think? Xian Yinqing asked. We can't trust these people completely. Who knows if they've brought other people with them? We can go to the treasure ground first, but we can't show our slaviers. Lu Ming said. I think so too, Xian Yinqing nodded. Although he didn't know whether it was true or not, it was still a serious matter concerning the martial emperor's treasure. Therefore he had better be careful. Let's go. It's a long journey from here to our destination. Xian Yinqing said. Lu Ming nodded and called Dandan. The two of them rose into the air and flew in the direction indicated on the map. After flying for half a month, they finally got close to the sea. The two of them looked at the map and concealed their auras. They flew high in the sky and looked down. It should be that small island. Lu Ming pointed to a small island in front of him. That small island was the location indicated on the map. There were 9 huge stone pillars on the island. They were like mountain peaks, but not a blade of grass grew on them. Moreover, the 9 stone pillars were like 9 combat swords pointing straight up. Lu Ming, look. There's someone there. Xian Yinqing whispered. Lu Ming looked over. Indeed, there was a figure sitting cross-legged on one of the sword-like stone pillars. From a distance, he looked like a middle-aged man. He's alone. Let's find an island nearby to settle down and act according to the situation, Lu Ming said in a low voice. Xian Yinqing nodded. They had to be careful. Other than Jianfiliu, no one else knew who the other masters of the martial emperor's treasure were. They didn't know their cultivation or background. If a high-level spirit ocean or spirit embryo realm expert came and they appeared rashly, the other party would attack and kill them. Then if they went out rashly, wouldn't that be courting death? The two of them retreated and found a small island 10,000 miles away. They landed on it. They planned to cultivate while waiting for an opportunity. During the half a month of travel, they did not neglect their cultivation. In their minds, they constantly comprehended various martial skills. Lu Ming, in particular, was more familiar with the use of various inscriptions and inscription arrays. Moreover, the 7-colored Taoist mental energy fire was almost completely refined. Lu Ming had already lit 10 green mental energy lamps. Great circle of the 5th level alchemist. Every level was perfected. The amount of energy consumed was terrifying. The seven-colored Taoist's mental energy fire could only help him up to this point. He was almost done refining. Lu Ming could only rely on himself if he wanted to break through to level 6. Chapter 688. 688 Chapter 688 Falling into a Trap. However, Lu Ming was already very satisfied. Even Lu Ming himself did not know how powerful the complete level 5 mental fire, in addition to the inscription arrays given to him by Dandan, could be. However, it was definitely stronger than his martial arts battle prowess. The seven-colored Taoist's experience and knowledge of the Tao of inscription were integrated into Lu Ming's mind along with the mental energy fire. These were precious treasures. They were the seven-colored Taoist's 1,000 years of experience in cultivating the Tao of inscription. However, Lu Ming still needed to spend some time to master it if he wanted to use it for himself. The two of them landed on the island and cultivated while waiting. 2 days later, Lu Ming secretly went to the small island to take a look and discovered that there was an additional person. A young man was sitting cross-legged on another stone pillar. Lu Ming did not show himself. He returned to the island. At this moment there was movement in the jade sword. Lu Ming took it out and injected his essential core into it. A sound was heard. "Everyone, I've arrived at my destination. Brother Lu is with me. When will you arrive?" A rough voice sounded. It should be the burly man. "I'm on my way, let's wait a few days." Old Oyu's voice sounded. "Me too." Lu Ming replied in the same way. The other voices also gave similar answers. "Everyone, I've already arrived at the chaotic astral ocean, but it'll still take me 10 days to reach my destination. I'm really sorry." The timid voice sounded. "It's fine to wait for a few more days, but let's set a rule. Those who come to meet us should show their jade swords. This way, both sides can prove their identity to avoid any misunderstandings." The rough voice said. "All right, I have no objections." "That's good." A series of voices sounded. Xian Yinqing remained silent. One reason was that Xian Yinqing didn't like to talk. Another reason was that they didn't want to reveal one jade sword. It might be useful at a critical moment. Lu Ming kept the jade sword and continued cultivating. He was able to integrate the seven-colored Taoist's experience very quickly, and his understanding and application of the Tao of inscriptions were advancing at a tremendous pace. Of course, all inscription masters lean towards different directions. Some lean towards forging, some lean towards refining pills, some lean towards creating talismans, and some lean towards formations. The seven-colored Taoist's focus was on alchemy, followed by formations. Lu Ming's knowledge and experience in refining pills increased rapidly. Of course, his array technique also improved very quickly. On the island, Lu Ming's footsteps were continuous. Without a sound, the ground was covered with inscriptions. At the same time, he waved his hands and inscriptions flashed in the air, flying into the surrounding trees and rocks. After a while he stopped. "Boy, your luck is really enviable. A perfected level 5, the seven-colored Taoist experience, and your abnormal talent in inscription. Now you're completely a qualified true inscription master." On the side, Dandan sighed endlessly. It was not easy to get Dandan's praise. After all, Lu Ming had only been in contact with the Tao of inscription for a short period of time and his foundation was lacking. Although the cultivation of the mental energy fire was very fast, other things could not make up for it. A large amount of time was needed to accumulate. However, now that Lu Ming had integrated the seven-colored Taoist experience, he skipped this step. His experience, mental energy fire, and other aspects were on par. Of course, this was an opportunity that could not be replicated. The seven-colored Taoist had rushed into Lu Ming's sea of consciousness on his own in an attempt to occupy Lu Ming's body. Other inscriers would not do the same and rush into other people's sea of consciousness. Lu Ming happened to have the earth core flowing flame and the underworld god visualization method. With his achievements in the Tao of inscription, Lu Ming put more effort into the cultivation of martial arts. In the blink of an eye, another 10 days passed. Every 2 days, Lu Ming and Xian Yinqing would go to the island to observe. There were more and more people on the island. There were already 5 people there. Even the timid woman had arrived. "Everyone's almost here, let's go meet them," Lu Ming said. Those 5 people had been living together in peace these few days, so there shouldn't be any problems. "All right." Xian Yinqing nodded. The two of them headed towards the island. Soon they were approaching the island. The two of them did not hide their whereabouts. When they arrived, the 5 people on the island naturally discovered them. "Who are you?" One of the burly men spoke in a rough voice. Lu Ming's hand moved and a crystal jade sword appeared. The other 5's eyes lit up, and a jade sword appeared in each of their hands. "Sir, I've said before that you're not allowed to tell anyone else. What do you mean by bringing one person here?" The burly man's face turned cold. The others' expressions turned cold as they looked at Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing. "She's my wife." "What? I can't even bring my wife?" Lu Ming held Xian Yanqing's hand and smiled. Xian Yanqing's face turned red and he gritted his teeth. This guy took advantage of him again. However, under such circumstances, she could not deny it and let Lu Ming hold her hand. "Wife?" The burly man's eyes flashed. "Since she's my wife, I think she should be fine." A timid voice sounded. The owner of this voice was a young woman. She was very beautiful and looked very weak. However, from her aura she seemed to be a peak-tier king. "All right, since that's the case, brother, please come to the island," the burly man said. Lu Ming nodded. He pulled Xian Yanqing along and landed on the island. Step by step, they walked towards a stone pillar in the center of the island. No one noticed that every time Lu Ming took a step, there would be a faint light flashing at the place where his feet touched the ground. Soon they were approaching the stone pillar, but at this moment something strange happened. The 5 people on the stone pillar moved in a flash and surrounded Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing from 5 different directions. Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing's expressions changed slightly. "Everyone, what is the meaning of this?" Lu Ming's gaze swept the surroundings. "It's simple, hand over your jade sword." The burly man sneered. "So you want my jade sword? But even if I give it to you, it's not enough for you to share." Lu Ming said. "Ah kid, you don't need to divide us. We're from the same force, so why do you need to divide us?" Old Oyu sneered. However, Lu Ming's heart sank. This was because Old Oyu's voice was clearly not the same person as the voice he had heard from the jade sword. "Have you noticed? During this period of time they all came and then they all died." The delicate woman spoke, but at this time she didn't feel timid, and her voice was very cold. "A trap, everything was a trap." Lu Ming's mind was spinning rapidly. "The others are all dead." Lu Ming's eyes flashed and he said coldly. "That's right. Kid, let me tell you. We already have 2 jade swords. That's why senior brother Zhong Yimou and I put on an act. I've actually arrived a long time ago, but I said I wasn't. I just wanted to lower your guard." The delicate-looking woman sneered as if she was very proud. The senior brother Zhong Yimou he was referring to was the burly man with the rough voice. No wonder it was only the 2 of them who had been talking earlier. No one else had spoken. Once the others opened their mouths, they would have been exposed. Boom. Boom. The auras of the 5 of them exploded and locked onto Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing. Chapter 689. 689 Chapter 689 Breaking out of the encirclement. Apart from the weak woman who was a peak-tier king, the others were all at the spiritual ocean tier. The strongest was the burly man who had reached the 3rd level of the spiritual ocean tier. Bang. Bang. At this moment, 7 to 8 figures suddenly flew out from the surrounding soil. "Why are you talking so much nonsense? There are only 2 jade swords left. Kill them directly and don't let the last one with the jade sword discover you. Finish the battle quickly and clean up the scene." One of the white-haired and white-bearded elders spoke. His body emitted a powerful cultivation, the 4th level of the spiritual ocean tier. This elder had a cultivation at the 4th level of the spiritual ocean tier. These people were all from the same force. It was obvious that the people who had come here before had been killed by them in a thunderous manner. That was why Lu Ming had not noticed them even after coming here several times. "Is Jian Filiu also dead?" Lu Ming had an idea. It was a pity that such a genius had died in the hands of these people. "Wait a minute, I can give you the jade sword, but you have to let us go," Lu Ming shouted, pulling Xian Yanqing and moving to the side. Every time he moved, a faint light would enter the ground under his feet. "All right, hand over the jade swords of your own accord, and I can consider sparing your lives." The burly man sneered. The others revealed mocking smiles. This kid was really naive. How could they possibly go around them? Lu Ming scanned his surroundings. These people were all experts. Of the 7 that appeared later, 2 were peak king tiers, and the other 5 were all experts of the spiritual ocean tier. The strongest was naturally that white-haired elder, who was at the 4th level of the spiritual ocean tier. He was definitely someone from a big force. This force was stronger than the entire Golden Sand Island. Lu Ming's mind was racing. He moved his hand and the jade sword appeared in his hand. Senior, I'll leave it to you. Lu Ming's essential core exploded and the jade sword in his hand turned into a bolt of lightning, shooting towards the white-haired elder at an extremely fast speed. The white-haired old man subconsciously reached out to take it. This was the moment that Lu Ming wanted. Bang! Bang! Lu Ming suddenly took 2 steps on the ground. Instantly, the ground glowed with a brilliant light. Countless inscriptions burst out and turned into 2 combat swords, slashing toward the south. There were only 2 first-level spiritual ocean tier martial artists in the south. Out of the 4 directions, that side was the weakest. Lu Ming wanted to break out of the encirclement to the south. Damn it, inscription formation. When did he inscribe the inscription formation? A furious roar rang out, and everyone exploded with a powerful aura. But he was still too late. Pucci. How could those 2 Sea of Soul Realm experts have thought that 2 mere peak-tier kings would dare to attack and inscribe a large inscription formation without them knowing? He wanted to block it in a hurry but he could only use 50% of his strength. It was cut in half by 2 combat swords. Let's go. Lu Ming hugged Xian Yanqing's waist and used the 9 Dragons' heaven-stomping steps to rush south. In the blink of an eye they were already 10 miles away. Damn it. Where do you think you're going? The white-haired elder caught the jade sword and let out an angry roar. He pointed his finger at Lu Ming. A finger force crossed the distance of 10 miles in an instant and was aimed at Lu Ming's heart. Fast, too fast and terrifyingly powerful. The 4th level of the spiritual ocean tier was simply too powerful. Sky Devil Force Field. Destroy. Xian Yanqing tried his best to block it with the Sky Demon Force Field. At the same time, Lu Ming's blood meridian burst out and his figure continued to dodge to the side. The powerful finger force pierced through Xian Yanqing and Lu Ming's defense. Although Lu Ming tried his best to dodge, he was still a little too slow. His arm was grazed by the wind of the finger force, and a large piece of flesh was torn off. Lu Ming's arm almost exploded. Buzz. Runes flickered on Lu Ming's body and entered his and Xian Yanqing's bodies. They were runes that sped up the process. At the same time, runes flashed on Lu Ming's body. This was the rune of a vital essence explosion. Now, Lu Ming could inscribe some of the inscriptions that Dandan used in the past in an instant. Buzz. Lu Ming cast the 9 Dragons' heaven-treading steps and his speed was unbelievably fast. In an instant he was far away. Behind him, the white-haired elder, the burly man, and the others quickly caught up. The killing intent on their bodies was so thick that it couldn't be dispersed. They had miscalculated. This time they had miscalculated. They were merely 2 peak-tier kings. With their powerful battle power, they were already cautious enough to surround 2 peak-tier kings. This was simply a matter of certainty. Not even in their dreams did they think that the 2 of them would actually be able to rush out. Last time they had been careless and let a young man rush out. So this time they all moved out and surrounded the 2 but they still got out. The main thing was that Lu Ming's inscription formation was too powerful. It could actually kill 2 experts at the 1st level of the spiritual ocean tier in an instant. They chased after him with all their might but realized that Lu Ming's figure was getting further and further away. The 9 Dragons' heaven-stomping steps was unleashed at full force. With the help of various inscription arrays, Lu Ming's speed was unbelievably fast. Not long after, Lu Ming had already disappeared from the sight of the white-haired elder and the others. Damn it, damn it. The white-haired old man roared like a mad demon. The burly man and the others appeared behind the white-haired old man with gloomy faces. Sect leader, that kid's inscription Dao is too strong. He's definitely a true inscription refiner, a rank 6 true inscription refiner. Otherwise he can't be so strong. The muscular man said to the white-haired elder. Like I said, the younger you are, the more you have to go all out. The young geniuses these days are too strong. We were careless before and were pushed out by a kid. This time these 2 young people are even more terrifying. Although you said. The young man from before is fine. He was injured by you and my 5 poison palms, so he's definitely dead. However, it's a little troublesome if these 2 escape. The burly man said. All right. Although he has escaped, we have already obtained the jade sword. Now we are only missing the last jade sword. We have to get it as soon as possible. Before the news spreads, we have to open the Martial Emperor's treasure, get the treasure inside and leave this place. This is the opportunity for our blood poison sect to rise again. We can't let any accidents happen, the white-haired old man said in a deep voice. Sect Master, although the owner of the last jade sword hasn't said anything, I think he will be here soon. This time we will definitely take him down, the burly man said. After that, everyone returned to the small island and continued to lay out their plans while waiting. Lu Ming brought Xian Yanqing along and flew for hundreds of thousands of miles before landing on a small island. Lu Ming, are you all right? Xian Yanqing was extremely worried and looked at Lu Ming with concern. I'm fine. That finger force was poisonous. However, poison is useless to me. Lu Ming smiled and controlled the 9-dragon bloodline to devour the poison on his arm. After the poison was removed, the wound on his arm began to recover at a speed that was visible to the naked eye. After half a day, Lu Ming's arm had completely recovered. Oh! Lu Ming let out a breath of turbid air. Chapter 690. 690. How have you been? This time it was really dangerous. If not for Lu Ming's rapid progress in the Tao of inscription and his ability to inscribe powerful inscription formations, as well as his caution in secretly inscribing inscriptions when he stepped onto the island, they would have been in danger this time. Even if Lu Ming risked his life to use the lightning cauldron, even if Xian Yanqing had some life-saving methods, the difference between them and a 4th-level spiritual ocean tier cultivator was too great. They would most likely die. No matter how powerful the lightning cauldron was, with Lu Ming's current peak tier king cultivation, he would definitely not be able to kill a 4th-level spiritual ocean tier cultivator. He might not even be able to kill a 3rd-level spiritual ocean tier cultivator. It's a pity, Jian Filiu. Lu Ming sighed softly. This was how the world of martial Tao worked. No matter how much of a genius you were, if you weren't careful, you would fall. In the long river of history, who knew how many geniuses had fallen? Those who could truly rise up and reach the peak were few and far between. Little Qing, let's go. That group wants to monopolize it. How is that possible? Let's go and give them a big gift. Lu Ming sneered. You want to spread the news? Xian Yanqing said. That's right. Since they want to monopolize it, we can only muddy the waters. Only by muddling the waters can we fish in troubled waters. Lu Ming sneered. That's exactly what I want. It's best if a stronger expert appears and exterminate them. Xian Yanqing's eyes flashed coldly. Let's go to the Wind Moon Island first. This island is even bigger than the Golden Sand Island. We'll spread the news there. I believe that it'll quickly spread throughout the chaotic astral ocean. Lu Ming took out the map and took a look. Then, the two of them rose into the air and flew in the direction of the Wind Moon Island. There's someone down there. After flying for a short while, Xian Yanqing suddenly pointed to the sea. Lu Ming looked over and saw a figure floating on the surface of the sea. Golden light emerged from its body and the fish around it did not dare to approach. That looks like Jian Filiu. Lu Ming's eyes flickered. The figure on the surface of the sea did look like Jian Filiu. The two of them landed on the surface of the sea. Lu Ming used his essential core and rolled them up. He was slightly shocked when he saw that this person was really Jian Filiu. Why was Jian Filiu here? Lu Ming had thought that Jian Filiu had been killed by that group of people. He's still breathing. He's not dead, but he's been deeply poisoned. Xian Yanqing frowned. Let's go back to the island and save the people first, Lu Ming said. The two of them returned to the small island. There was a golden light emitting from Jian Filiu's body. It should be the doing of the Golden Sword Pagoda. However, it did not stop Lu Ming from saving the person. He controlled the bloodline of the 9 dragons and devoured all the poison in Jian Filiu's body. This poison was very powerful. If it had been a few days later, Jian Filiu would have died. As soon as the poison was removed, the vital essence in Jian Filiu's body circulated automatically and began to heal. After 2 hours, Jian Filiu opened his eyes. Brother Lu, it's you. Jian Filiu was extremely surprised to see Lu Ming and the rest. Brother Jian, you're heavily injured. You should recuperate first, Lu Ming said. No, wait a minute. Brother Lu, Monsieur, you must not go to the Martial Emperor's treasure ground. The Blood Poison sect is setting up a trap there to seize all the jade swords. The others are all dead. Jian Filiu cried out anxiously. Brother Jian, it's too late now. We've already been there. Lu Ming smiled faintly. What? Go. He's been there? You guys. Jian Filiu was a little stunned. He had been there, but Lu Ming and the rest were fine. I did give my jade sword to them, but we seized the opportunity and escaped. Lu Ming said. You gave them the jade sword? Alas, it's a pity that the martial emperor's treasure is going to fall into the hands of those despicable people. Jian Filiu sighed unwillingly. They want to keep the martial emperor's treasure for themselves. It's not that easy. They won't be able to gather the last jade sword. Lu Ming smiled faintly. A jade sword appeared in Xian Yanqing's hand. Jian Filiu was stunned, then he was overjoyed. Ha! Man proposes, God disposes. It turns out that Brother Lu and Miss Ye each have one. I wonder what the expressions of those people from the blood poison sect will be like when they find out. Alright, Brother Lu, what do you plan to do next? Of course we're going to muddy the waters. The more muddy the better. Brother Jian, are you interested in joining us? Lu Ming said with a smile. Of course we'll go together. Jian Filiu said with excitement. At this moment, the jade sword in Xian Yanqing's hand glowed. Do you want to know their reaction? We'll know soon. Lu Ming's lips curled into a cold smile. He took the jade sword from Xian Yanqing's hand and channeled his vital essence into it. Instantly, a rough voice was heard. Your good friend, the 8 of us are all here. Only one more is left. Friend, where are you? It was the voice of the burly man. Lu Ming and the other 2 did not make a sound. That's right, my friend. We're only short of you. As long as you come, we can open the martial emperor's treasure and take out the treasures inside. If we delay any longer, I'm afraid that there will be more problems. It was the timid voice of a woman. Cough, cough. Lu Ming coughed a few times. Instantly the other side became excited. Where are you, brother? The burly man asked. Once you're here, we can immediately start opening the martial emperor's treasure. Hee, this friend is finally speaking. May I ask where you are? Are you in the chaotic astral ocean? The timid voice sounded again. Everyone, I hope you're well. At this moment, Lu Ming spoke. Then the jade sword immediately fell silent. There was no sound at all. After a while, a rough voice sounded. It's you? That's me. You guys are so forgetful. Lu Ming said with a smile. You actually have 2 jade swords? How is that possible? The rough voice was filled with disbelief. Brother, what do you want? A timid voice sounded. Your blood poison sect is very powerful. The few of us can't compete with you. Therefore, I plan to pull all the brothers and sisters in the chaotic astral ocean to share the martial emperor's treasure. Isn't this a good idea? Lu Ming said with a smile. You have to spread the news. No, you can't do this. Damn it, you can't do this. The rough voice roared. Idiot. Lu Ming said. Then he heard a rough voice and heavy breathing. It was obvious that he was angry. Little brother, let's talk this over. I promise you that as long as you come over, we won't touch you. After we enter the martial emperor's treasure, we'll split the keys equally. How about it? At this moment, an old voice rang out. It was the voice of the blood poison sect leader. I'm not interested. Lu Ming said. Little brother, what do you want then? The blood poison sect master said. That's easy, I want your hats. Lu Ming sneered. Little brother, let me give you a piece of advice. Don't go too far. Otherwise it won't do you any good. Seeing that the discussion was not going to work, the sect master of the Xuedu sect began to threaten. Chapter 691. 691 Muddling up the water. Old man, has your head been gnawed on by a dog? You're still threatening me? I believe that the news of the martial emperor's treasure will soon spread throughout the exposed starry sea. Lu Ming said with a smile. No, brat, if you dare I will kill you. I promise. The blood poison sect master roared in anger. However, at this moment, Lu Ming stopped the infusion of essential qi and his voice disappeared. I really want to see the expressions of the blood poison sect's people. Jian Filiu laughed. He felt very comfortable. Their expressions will definitely be very interesting. Lu Ming said. Indeed, the expressions of the blood poison sect's people were truly fascinating. Damn it, that bastard, the next time I see him, I'll skin him alive. The burly man roared continuously. His eyes were wide open as if they were about to spew fire. Everything was planned, but I didn't expect that guy to have 2 jade swords. Damn it. The weak woman gritted her teeth and her eyes were filled with hatred. The others were the same. Their faces were ashen and the veins on their faces were twitching. The feeling of having nowhere to vent their anger was too uncomfortable. They were so angry that they almost vomited blood. They were just one step away from success, but they had failed at the last step. The next time I meet him, he'll definitely die. The sect master of the Shuedu sect gritted his teeth. Sect master, what do we do now? Someone asked. There are 9 keys. We can't open the martial emperor's treasure without one. We can only wait. The sect master said helplessly. One day later, Jianfiliu's injuries were healed. They went to the Wind Moon Island together. The Wind Moon Island was twice as large as the Golden Sand Island. It was very prosperous and had a lot of people. It was said that there were even experts at the 4th level of the spiritual ocean tier here. After the 3 of them entered the city, they bought a lot of paper and wrote down the news of the martial emperor's treasure as well as the specific address on the paper. At night they scattered the paper everywhere. As expected, the entire Wind Moon Island was in an uproar the next day. Lu Ming and the other 2 had scattered too many pieces of paper. They could not hide it even if they wanted to. Very quickly, the news spread throughout the Wind Moon Island and countless people were discussing this topic. In a restaurant, Lu Ming, Xian Yanqing, and Jian Filiu were eating and drinking while listening to the news from nearby. You should have heard the news about the martial emperor's treasure, right? Nearby, the voices of the other tables could be heard. Of course I did. Now, everyone on the Wind Moon Island knows about it, but we don't know if the martial emperor's treasure is real or fake. If it's real, why would someone spread the news everywhere? Could it be a prank? I don't know. A martial emperor's treasure. There are so many martial emperors in the entire East continent. Is there really a martial emperor's treasure? It's a little mysterious. No matter what, the martial emperor's treasure is too amazing. Even if there's only a 1 in a million chance that it's real, I still want to take a look. If it's real, I'll benefit endlessly as long as I can get even a little bit of benefit from it. That's right. I'm only afraid that it's real. I'm not afraid that it's fake. Lu Ming and the other 2 looked at each other and smiled when they heard the voices nearby. With such a wide spread, many people would doubt the authenticity of the news. However, the martial emperor's treasure was too amazing and tempting. Even if they suspected it was fake, most people couldn't resist the temptation and would go to take a look. This was the effect they wanted. In the next few days, the news spread further and further. Some people had even set off. As for Lu Ming and the other 2, they hid in the Wind Moon Island and cultivated with all their might. If it was really a martial emperor's treasure, there would definitely be a fierce fight after it was opened. Therefore, the more powerful they were, the better. In a mountain range, Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing were fighting with all their might. Now that Xian Yanqing had successfully fused 2 intents, his main task was to help Lu Ming fuse Earth Force and the other 3 intents. In the blink of an eye, another 7 days had passed. After 7 days of bitter cultivation, Lu Ming had finally successfully integrated the force of the earth into the 3 concepts. 3 intents and 1 force had been successfully fused. In a hotel room, Lu Ming entered the Supreme Shrine and sat cross-legged. In front of him was a pile of profound meaning crystals and 22 middle-grade fire-type profound meaning crystals. Lu Ming planned to use the esoteric crystals to start breaking through to the 2nd level of the intent realm of heaven and earth. If his intent could break through to the 2nd level, his combat strength would definitely increase greatly. He picked up a piece of ultimacy crystal and crushed it. Next to the path understanding ancient tree, Lu Ming began to cultivate. Not long after, Lu Ming crushed another mid-grade fire attribute ultimacy crystal. Just like that, Lu Ming crushed the pieces one by one. He stopped after crushing a total of 12 pieces. Just a little bit more, but just that little bit. I just can't break through. Lu Ming muttered. Now, his fire concept was only a little bit away from level 2. It was not even half a step away, but it was stuck and couldn't be broken. It seems like the 2nd level intent realm of heaven and earth is indeed different from the 1st level. It can't be continuously improved just by relying on profound meaning crystals. It also needs comprehension. Only by using comprehension to break through the bottleneck and then combining it with the profound meaning crystals can it continuously improve. Lu Ming pondered. It was obvious that he had reached a bottleneck in his fire attribute concept. Lu Ming did not continue to attack the fire element concept. Instead, he took out a middle-grade wind element profound meaning crystal and started to attack the wind concept. Just like the fire intent, after refining a dozen middle-grade wind element intent crystals, his wind intent had also reached the peak of the 1st level. It was only a bit away from the 2nd level, but it was still stuck. Lu Ming shook his head and smiled bitterly. It was very difficult to break through to the second level of the essence realm of heaven and earth. No wonder there were so many peak-tier king tiers, but there were so few spiritual ocean tier ones. Take Tianxian region's Tianxian subpalace as an example. There were at least 50 or more peak-tier kings among all the elders, traveling elders, and elders in seclusion. But as for spiritual ocean tier, there were only two: the Xing family's head, Xing Tsang and Mu Tian. The same was true for Golden Sand Island. They had sent over 500 peak-tier king tiers to battle the sea beasts, and some of them had even died on the life battle platform. However, how many Sea of Soul realm experts did they have? As long as one's talent wasn't bad, and with the accumulation of resources, it wasn't hard to reach peak-tier king tier with the passage of time. Some people could become peak-tier kings after cultivating for a few hundred years. However, many people would be stuck at the peak-tier king level, unable to break through in their entire lives. One could only imagine how difficult it was to break through the spirit sea. At this moment, Lu Ming stopped cultivating. It was almost time for them to set off. After a while, Lu Ming, Xian Yanqing, and Jian Filiu flew toward the island where the martial emperor's treasure was. A few days later they arrived at the island. There was a sea of people, a real sea of people. They were densely packed. At a glance they were all human figures. There were at least hundreds of thousands of them, maybe even close to 1 million. These are the people from the nearby seas of the chaotic astral ocean. The people from the other seas have yet to arrive. The three of them squeezed through the crowd. He really had to squeeze. Chapter 692. 692 Opening of the Martial Emperor's Treasure. Damn, is there really a Martial Emperor's treasure? Why isn't it open yet? I heard that there are a total of 9 keys to open the door. The Blood Poison sect has 8 of them. They're short of one, and it's in the hands of a young man. He hasn't come yet. Some people speculate that the news was released by that young man. He's probably coming soon. Let's wait a little longer. Sounds of discussion could be heard from the surroundings. After much difficulty they managed to squeeze to the front. Countless people surrounded the island in the air. Lu Ming's group squeezed to the front and saw the Blood Poison sect's people standing together with ashen faces. There were more than a dozen people around them, and each of them had an imposing aura and was extremely powerful. They were actually all experts at the 4th level of the spiritual ocean tier. Among them, there were even experts even stronger than the 4th level of the spiritual ocean tier. Haha, everyone from the Blood Poison sect, how have you been? Lu Ming squeezed to the front and laughed heartily. Everyone from the Blood Poison sect looked over. Little bastard, you finally appeared. You're looking for death. Kill that little bastard. When the Blood Poison sect disciples saw Lu Ming, their eyes burned with a raging fire. They glared at Lu Ming, their killing intent incomparably thick. Lu Ming took a few steps back and squeezed into the crowd. He said, "What's wrong? You want to fight? There are so many experts here, let's see how you guys are going to kill them." Everyone from the Blood Poison sect roared in anger, but they could do nothing. There were too many people here and they were all experts. Lu Ming was in the crowd. How could they attack? Once they made a move, they would implicate others and cause public anger, and they would be the ones to die. They could only glare at Lu Ming, wishing they could skin him alive. The Martial Emperor's treasure was supposed to fall into the Blood Poison sect's hands. They had been looking forward to the Blood Poison sect's rapid rise, but what about now? There were so many people, more than a dozen at the 4th level of the spiritual ocean realm, and even stronger experts. Now that they had opened the Martial Emperor's treasure, they could at most drink a mouthful of the soup. Whether he could drink this mouthful of soup or not was still a problem. All of this was Lu Ming's fault. It was all Lu Ming's fault. How could they not hate him? As for the fact that they were the ones who made the first move and wanted to monopolize the Martial Emperor's treasure, they would never think about it. In their opinion, it was what they should do, and the others had to fulfill their wishes. The others also looked at Lu Ming. Could it be that the last key was in Lu Ming's hands? Lu Ming smiled and a jade sword appeared in his hand. He flung the jade sword at an elder in a green robe. "Senior, I'll give you this key," Lu Ming said. The green-robed elder's aura was unfathomable and even stronger than the Xuedu sect masters. The green-robed old man extended his hand and caught the jade sword. A smile appeared on his face as he said, "Not bad, little guy." Then he looked at the Blood Poison sect and the others. "Take out your keys and open the Martial Emperor's treasure together." Damn it. The sect master of the Shui-Du sect roared in his heart. He was extremely unwilling, but so what? He had no choice but to take it out obediently and open the martial emperor's treasure. If they didn't take it out, the only outcome would be death. 8 jade swords appeared in the hands of the blood poison sect disciples. Buzz. When the 9 jade swords appeared together, the 9 jade swords started to move. They trembled slightly and complicated patterns appeared on their surface. What a wonderful inscription, what a brilliant inscription formation. Lu Ming's eyes flashed. Now, his Tao of inscription was already considered pretty good, so his vision was naturally different. He could tell at a glance that the inscription formation on the 9 jade swords was very profound and could even be said to be mysterious. Buzz. Just at this moment, the 9 sword-like stone pillars on the island also started to shake. Inscriptions appeared on them and echoed with the 9 jade swords. Whoosh, whoosh. Then the 9 jade swords left everyone's hands and flew towards the 9 stone pillars. Each jade sword corresponded to a stone pillar. In a flash of light, the 9 jade swords flew into the 9 stone pillars and disappeared. At this moment, the 9 stone pillars glowed brightly and 9 beams of light shot up into the sky like 9 divine swords. A terrifying scene appeared. The sky above the island was originally filled with people. At this time, when the 9 sword lights rushed out, those people exploded and turned into powder. They didn't even have the chance to scream. Retreat, retreat. Terrified screams rang out and countless people frantically retreated. Lu Ming and the rest were not directly above the pillar of light. They had just avoided the disaster and were now retreating frantically. It was too terrifying. At least 10,000 people had died just now, and there were even Sea of Soul Realm experts among them. However, under that light pillar they couldn't resist at all. Some people's eyes lit up. It seems that it might really be a martial emperor's treasure. Even if it's not a martial emperor's treasure, it's still a big deal. Boom. The 9 pillars of light converged into one in the air, and the power grew even stronger. Boom boom boom. At this moment the island started to shake violently. Then everyone saw the island split into 2. Moreover, the 2 holoviers of the island were separated by dozens of miles. In the middle of the island, a whirlpool appeared. Endless sea water began to spin, turning into a hole. It was a huge sea whirlpool and no one knew where it led to. Boom, boom, boom. The vortex spun and rumbled with astonishing power. Could it be that the martial emperor's treasure was under this vortex? Everyone hesitated. No one dared to go down first. After a long while, someone finally couldn't hold it in anymore. A white-haired old man stepped out and said, "Since I don't have much lifespan left, I might as well take a gamble." This elder was a peak-tier king and his 1,000 years were up. If he couldn't break through to the spirit ocean realm, he would die of old age. This martial emperor's treasure was an opportunity for him. At the spiritual ocean tier, one's lifespan would be increased by another 1,000 years, and they would have a lifespan of 2,000 years. He rushed into the vortex and went down with it, disappearing in the blink of an eye. It's fine, there's no problem. Many people's eyes lit up. Charge. Then another group of people rushed down. Ah. This time, someone screamed as his body was torn apart and he died in the whirlpool. But some people rushed in. The person who died was a martial grandmaster and a martial king realm martial artist. Don't worry, a martial king realm martial artist can withstand the power of the vortex. That's right. A martial emperor's treasure, a martial grandmaster ant. You must be dreaming if you want to get your hands on it. Charge. Immediately more people rushed down. They were all martial artists above the martial king realm. As expected, they were fine and disappeared into the center of the vortex one by one. More people flew down. After a short moment, those Sea of Soul Realm experts also couldn't hold back anymore, and flew towards the vortex. The people from the blood poison sect cast a cold glance at Lu Ming before they flew into the vortex and disappeared. As for the martial arts grandmasters, they were extremely unwilling, but there was nothing they could do. There were even some martial arts grandmasters who did not believe in heresy and rushed down, eventually dying tragically. Soon, large groups of martial king and martial artists rushed into the vortex. There were roughly no less than 100,000 people. Chapter 693. 693. A strange place. Brother Jian, do you want to go? Lu Ming looked at Jian Filiu. Of course we're going. We can't miss the martial emperor's treasure. no matter if it's real or fake. Jianfiliu's eyes were extremely firm. A Heaven's Pride expert was a Heaven's Pride expert not only because of talent and perseverance, but also because one had to firmly grasp the opportunity. If there was an opportunity in front of them, but one did not dare to grasp it, then one could not be called a Heaven's Pride expert. Alright, let's go together. Lu Ming, Xian Yanqing and Jianfiliu rushed toward the vortex together. As soon as he entered the vortex, Lu Ming felt a strong tearing force from the surrounding seawater, acting on his body. However, this power could only pose a threat to martial arts grandmasters. It was nothing to them. The three of them followed the vortex and went down. Very soon they reached the bottom of the sea, but they did not stop. There seemed to be a huge cave at the bottom of the sea. It was pitch black inside the cave. From inside, there was a strong suction force that pulled Lu Ming and the others down. Lu Ming realized that he was extremely small under this attractive force. It was difficult for him to resist. The next moment he, Xian Yanqing and the others disappeared from the cave. It was pitch black all around him. There was no sound or movement. Lu Ming could only feel that his body was constantly descending. He had no idea where he was going to land. Could it be that the martial emperor's treasure is deep underground? Lu Ming pondered in his heart. He kept descending. He did not know how long he had been descending for. Suddenly, Lu Ming felt that the sky and earth were spinning, as if he had taken a cross-domain teleportation array. The next moment he found himself in midair and his body was falling rapidly. He hurriedly circulated his essential core and his expression changed slightly. He found that the circulation of true yuan here was much more obscure than before, as if it was facing a strong resistance. Even flying became more strenuous than before, and the speed of flying had slowed down a lot. Lu Ming controlled his body and floated in the air, sizing it up carefully. There was no moon or sun in the sky, but there seemed to be stars high up in the sky. However, these stars were all crimson and scattered with crimson light. This was where the light source was. Below him was an endless land. Where is this place? Is it some other region or deep underground? Lu Ming frowned. Previously he felt that he was falling to the ground. Little Qing Jianfiliu is gone. Lu Ming muttered. Then, with a thought, Dandan appeared on his shoulder. Before he came in, Lu Ming had already stuffed Dandan into the supreme shrine. Dandan, do you know what this place is? Lu Ming asked. Dandan's eyes scanned the surroundings. After pondering for a moment, she shook her head and said, I don't have any impression of this place. It's so strange. It doesn't seem to be on the ground. Since he did not know, Lu Ming did not ask further. He sized it up for a while and then landed on the ground. What? After landing on the ground, Lu Ming's gaze flickered. This piece of land was actually a cemetery. As far as the eye could see, there were huge tombs everywhere, one after another, connected together. There's someone. Lu Ming saw a figure flash in front of him. It was a peak-tier king. Lu Ming moved and followed them. Slowly he realized that there were more and more people in front. In the end he found that there were about 1,000 people in front of him, scattered over there. Everyone, do any of you know what this place is? Someone asked. I don't know. Didn't they say it was the martial emperor's treasure? Why did it land here? There are tombs everywhere, where is the treasure? Or, the martial emperor's treasure is somewhere else? We need to find it ourselves. That's true. If it really is a martial emperor's treasure, it won't be so easy to get it. Everyone chimed in, expressing their own opinions. Little bastard. Suddenly, a loud roar was heard. Lu Ming could feel a cold killing intent enveloping him. He turned around and saw a burly man with a murderous look in his eyes. The man was glaring at Lu Ming. It was the brawny man from the blood poison sect, Zhong Mo. This person was an expert at the 3rd level of the spiritual ocean tier. Lu Ming's eyes flashed. He did not expect to meet the burly man the moment he entered this place. The burly man's face revealed a ferocious smile. A powerful aura emanated from his body, like a vast ocean that enveloped Lu Ming. Nearby, the others couldn't help but make way. The attack of a 3rd level spiritual ocean tier powerful being was extremely terrifying. They were afraid of being affected. Little bastard, this is your fate. You are destined to die in my hands. Let's see how you're going to run away today. Thump. Boom. Before he could finish his sentence, the burly man strode toward Lu Ming like a wild beast trampling on the ground. Lu Ming retreated at top speed. With every step he took, he would stomp on the ground and a ray of light would flash. Whoosh, whoosh. When the burly man rushed over, runes appeared on the ground, forming a long spear that pierced through the air. The power of the spear was extremely terrifying, and even a Sea of Soul Realm expert would be killed if he was not careful. However, the burly man threw a punch and shattered the spear's radiance. He continued to charge toward Lu Ming without stopping. Little bastard, although your Tao of Inscription is strong, how can a formation you set up in a hurry do anything to me? I will definitely kill you today. Boom. Boom. The burly man shouted and punched out with both fists. Two mighty fist auras were blasted toward Lu Ming. Heaven and earth shook violently, and the space seemed to be pierced through. A terrifying pressure pressed down on Lu Ming, causing his muscles to tighten. Bang. Lu Ming stomped on the ground and runes appeared, forming two shields in front of him. His figure retreated rapidly. With two loud explosions, the two shields were shattered. The fist force did not stop and continued to blast toward Lu Ming. The third level of the spiritual ocean realm at its peak was too powerful. Lu Ming was no match for it. Even though Lu Ming's current Tao of Inscription was extremely powerful, it was still only at level 5. Let's go. Lu Ming used the 9 Dragons' Heaven-treading steps to avoid the fist radiance. He was about to use the 9 Dragons' Heaven-treading steps again to leave this place when... Whoosh, whoosh. All around them, a sharp sound suddenly rang out. From all directions, endless arrows shot towards them, covering the sky and the earth, enveloping everyone in it. Not good, there are people here. Many people's expressions changed. They used their cultivation to block the arrows from all directions. Boom. Boom. Just as they were about to knock the arrows away, the arrows suddenly exploded. The power was extremely terrifying, and many low-rank kings were instantly killed, screaming in pain. More than 10 arrows exploded around Lu Ming, causing him to take a few steps back. As for the burly man, he didn't know if it was because the strength he had just shown was too strong or because he was unlucky, but there were actually hundreds of arrows shooting at him. Although they didn't hurt him, they made him quite embarrassed. Fire. A loud shout came from the distance. Immediately, another wave of arrows came from all directions. They were so dense that they covered the sky. Chapter 694. 694 Encountering the Puppet Army. Who's that? Lu Ming's pupils suddenly constricted. He saw that there was a rune on each arrow. The rune was not even the size of a palm and was stuck to the arrow. As soon as the arrow hit its target, the runes on the arrow would explode and release a huge amount of energy. The explosion of the arrow was caused by these runes. Buzz. Buzz. Lu Ming's figure flashed rapidly, trying his best to avoid the arrow and not come into contact with it. Boom. Boom. Violent explosions rang out continuously, accompanied by waves of miserable screams. Many people were killed. However, most of the people who were killed were martial artists below the 4th level Martial King realm. Those above the 4th level Martial King realm had used their intent and powerful true origin to protect themselves and withstand the power of the explosion. Whoosh, whoosh. However, the arrows continued to come, and the sky was filled with the violent sound of the air being torn. Not good. Lu Ming's expression changed. He realized that there were a few arrows that were terrifyingly fast. They were several times faster than the other arrows and reached him in an instant. He dodged quickly, but there was still an arrow that he could not avoid. It landed in front of Lu Ming, and Lu Ming's quintessential essence exploded, forming a quintessential essence shield. With a bang, the arrow exploded. What a powerful arrow. This arrow has astonishing penetrative power. Lu Ming's expression changed. Although he had shattered the arrow, he was fine because of his profound cultivation and rich essential core. But others were not so good. Even more screams were heard. Many martial artists at level 4 Martial King realm and above had their Zhenyuan shields pierced through. Their bodies were pierced by the arrows and they died an unnatural death. Only the martial artists at the 7th level of the Martial King realm and above managed to block the arrows, but it also consumed a lot of their vital essence. Runes again. Lu Ming realized that there was a rune attached to the arrows with high penetrative power. The green rune could greatly increase the speed and penetrative power. Whoosh, whoosh. Before one wave was over, another wave came. Just now, the burly man's combat strength was so strong that he was probably the focus of attention. Arrows were shot at him continuously, leaving him no time to chase after Lu Ming. Charge. Charge in one direction. Otherwise we'll all die. Someone shouted. Charge, charge in one direction. Everyone joined forces and charged in the same direction. Just now they still had more than 1,000 people, but in this short while, they only had 300 to 400 people left. More than half of them had been killed. Hundreds of people charged in one direction, instantly breaking through the arrows. Boom, boom, boom. The earth rumbled and howls came from ahead. They were the howls of Walevers. Smoke and dust filled the air, and giant waves appeared, rushing towards them. On each of the giant Walevers there was a figure. These figures were dressed completely different from them. There were men and women. The women were covered in beast skins, revealing their slender legs. The men were bare-chested, wearing beast skins. Their skin was bronze in color, and they carried longbows on their backs. Kill. These people have trespassed the forbidden area. Kill them all. A brawny man shouted. The giant wolf howled and stomped on the ground, charging toward Lu Ming and the rest. On Lu Ming's side, attacks of sword chi, saber radiance, and the like burst out, slashing at the huge waves. Clang, clang. When their attacks landed on the giant Walevers, there was a sound of metal clashing. The giant Walevers were not afraid of the attack and rushed over, their claws as sharp as blades. A Lever 7 Martial King Realm martial artist's protective genuine vitality was torn apart by the wolf's claws, and then his body was also torn apart. It wasn't just one person who ended up like this, but many. A puppet, this is a puppet. Lu Ming's spear swept out and sent a giant wolf flying. His pupils shrank slightly. These giant Walevers were not made of flesh and blood, but were puppets made of various metals. His body was as strong as Vajra and indestructible. Most importantly, there were too many puppets. There were at least 1,000 of them, and this was only one direction. There were still more in the other directions. Lu Ming waved his long spear and the huge waves were sent flying. Some giant Walevers exploded directly. Kill that brat. A burly man riding an exceptionally large wolf charged toward Lu Ming. His huge wolf claws were aimed at Lu Ming. Lu Ming held the spear and swept it across. With a loud boom, the giant wolf was pushed back, but Lu Ming's body also trembled and he took a few steps back. It was equivalent to a spiritual ocean-tier puppet wolf. Kill? The burly man was pushed back. He then controlled the puppet wolf to attack Lu Ming. Lu Ming fired his spear and forced the giant wolf back. He did not linger in the battle and rushed over. The brawny man from the blood poison sect was the most miserable. He was surrounded by 3 powerful and terrifying giant Walevers. Of the 3 giant wolf puppets, one was equivalent to the 3rd level of the spiritual ocean tier, and the other 2 were equivalent to the peak of the 2nd level of the spiritual ocean tier. Their bodies were indestructible, and they suppressed the burly man. Boom, boom, boom. In the other 4 directions, the earth also let out violent rumbles and wolf howls. It was unknown how many puppet armies were charging toward them. Charge, charge. Many martial artists charged forward without any regard for their own safety, displaying all of their trump cards. The situation was too dangerous. If they didn't rush out, they would be surrounded by the puppet armies from the other 3 directions, and only death awaited them. Those who trespass the forbidden area will be killed without mercy. Kill. The battle cries shook the sky, and the attacks were like a tide. Lu Ming held the long spear and charged forward. Along the way he repelled a few puppets at the Spirit Sea realm. He continued to charge forward. Brat die. A huge figure at least 2 meters tall slashed at him with a saber in his hand. The blade cut through the air, creating a terrifying sonic boom. Lu Ming blocked it with his infinite dragon spear. A terrifying force surged over and Lu Ming's body floated backward. It's equivalent to a puppet at the 2nd level of the spiritual ocean tier. Furthermore, it's a humanoid. Lu Ming's gaze turned serious. Then he moved and dashed to the right. The human-shaped puppet's entire body was metallic in color. Its eyes were extremely cold as it stomped on the ground. A huge pit reappeared on the ground as it charged toward Lu Ming. Lu Ming stomped on the ground and runes appeared. At the same time he waved his hands and runes sank into the ground. An inscription master. The human-shaped puppet was surprised to be able to speak the human language. I'm sleepy. Lu Ming waved his hands and runes filled the ground, turning into a large net that covered the humanoid puppet. The humanoid puppet swung its sword, but it could not break through it at the moment. Lu Ming soared into the sky and flew into the distance. Let's go by air. The others followed suit and tried to escape through the air. However, what made them despair was that the giant wolf puppets actually extended a pair of wings from both sides and could also fly into the sky to pursue them. This was a bloody battle and no one could care about each other. Everyone desperately tried to break out. Lu Ming had no idea how many giant wolf puppets he had repelled before he rushed out of the cemetery and into a forest. In this place, the speed of flight was greatly suppressed. Lu Ming had flown for more than an hour and he had only flown more than 10,000 miles. Moreover, the consumption of his essential core was extremely terrifying. Chapter 695. 695 The Underground World. Lu Ming landed in a forest. The trees here were extremely strange. They were dark red in color and were completely different from the trees that Lu Ming had seen before. Lu Ming did not have the time to think. He took out a pile of top-grade spirit crystals and started to recover his essential core after devouring them. Half an hour later, Lu Ming's essential core had recovered. Suddenly, his expression changed as he looked at the sky. More than 20 people have flown over here and landed. They are all from the chaotic astral ocean like him. These people were basically all peak-tier kings. They had only managed to break out of the encirclement and come here. However, each of them had suffered injuries of varying degrees. They naturally saw Lu Ming. Seeing that Lu Ming was dressed the same as them, Fin heaved a huge sigh of relief. A few of them stood guard while the rest recuperated. Lu Ming did not speak. He sat cross-legged not far away, but his mind was constantly thinking. What was this place? And who were the people who attacked them? He seemed to be dressed in ancient clothes and was actually wearing animal skin. In the Divine Wilderness continent, Lu Ming had heard that only tribes in extremely remote areas would wear animal skins. Most importantly, those people could actually refine runes and make puppets. This was strange. Runes and puppets were both branches of the Tao of inscription. Just like inscription runes scroll, only true inscription blacksmiths could create them. There were actually many true inscription refiners among these humans who were dressed like primitive tribes. An hour or two later, the 20-odd people had almost recovered. Everyone, do you know who those people are? And what is this place? Lu Ming asked. During the battle just now, I thought I heard someone call us extraterrestrials. Is this place really underground? A rather refined middle-aged man muttered. Underground? It can't really be underground, right? There's a world underground? Some people were very surprised. The others didn't make a sound, but they knew in their hearts that it was most likely true. When they came in earlier, they had kept falling and they didn't know how far they had fallen. If it's really underground, then we're in trouble. How do we get out? Someone said worriedly. Since we came in through the entrance of the Martial Emperor's treasure, we can definitely get out. But first, we have to figure out the situation here. Lu Ming said. That's right, this little brother is right. The middle-aged man nodded. What? At this moment, Lu Ming's expression changed. He looked at the sky and his expression changed. Not good, those people are chasing us. Let's go. With that, Lu Ming rose into the air and flew into the distance. The others were slightly stunned and turned their heads to look. Sure enough, they saw hundreds of giant wallivers in the distant sky. They spread their wings and flew over at high speed. Go, quickly go. Their expressions changed drastically, and they rose into the air one after another, flying forward wildly. Lu Ming's speed was very fast. He shook off the puppet wallivers and landed 10,000 miles away. This time he landed in a valley. As for the middle-aged man and the others, they had already separated from him. However, a few hours later, the giant wolf puppet actually caught up with them again. What's going on? Why do those people know where I am and can accurately find me every time? Lu Ming furrowed his brows as he pondered. He flew forward at high speed and soon, he shook off the giant wallivers and landed in a forest. Lu Ming scanned his surroundings carefully. Suddenly, his eyes flickered and he drew in the air. Runes appeared and landed on an ancient tree. Inscriptions appeared on the ancient tree, forming a mysterious inscription formation. As expected, there are arrays everywhere in the forest. These arrays should be used for surveillance. They can detect the aura of people nearby and lock their position. Lu Ming nodded and had an answer in his heart. Since that's the case, let's break these formations. Lu Ming waved his hands and the inscription formation on the ancient tree trembled before it collapsed and disappeared. Following that, Lu Ming wandered around the area and found many of such inscription arrays. all of them were destroyed. After breaking the array in this area, Lu Ming took a rest in this area. As expected, after a long time no one came after him. Where should I go next? Could it be that the martial emperor's treasure is only used to lure people in and has no other purpose? Lu Ming was very puzzled. He felt that this matter was very strange. That's because the entrance to the chaotic astral ocean was definitely set up by someone outside. Therefore there's definitely a purpose for it. Perhaps the real martial emperor's treasure is hidden in this underground world. I'd better figure out a way to understand the distribution of the underground world first. It'd be best if I could blend in. Only then will I know what to do next. Lu Ming pondered. Just as Lu Ming was making conjectures, there was a huge ancient city more than 100,000 miles away. This ancient city was basically built with stones. The city walls were made of stone and so were the buildings in the city. In the middle of the ancient city, there was a huge stone hall. At this moment, a group of people was discussing something. Most of them were old men and they were all wearing animal skins. At this moment, a burly man was reporting to the old men. A person from the outer world, could he really be a person from the outer world? A chubby old man muttered to himself as he frowned. Could it be that the ancient legend is true? When the people from the outer realm descend, there will definitely be a son of heavens who can revive the ancient ancestor and once again teach the great Tao to the major tribes. Legends don't come from nowhere. Every tribe has such a legend. Whoever can find the chosen one and revive the ancient ancestor will be highly valued by the ancient ancestor and be taught supreme techniques. One by one the elders expressed their opinions. This is a chance for us, the Heavenly Wolf tribe. Pass down my order. We can only capture the extraterrestrials alive. If it is not necessary, we cannot kill them. We must capture more extraterrestrials than the other tribes. The oldest man said. Yes, clan elder. The burly man accepted the order and left. The chosen one must be in the hands of the Heavenly Wolf tribe. The celestial wolf elder's murky eyes shone with a light that was brighter than the stars. After resting for a while, Lu Ming continued to move. He randomly chose a direction and continued to fly. Boom. After Lu Ming had flown a few thousand miles away, two fist gleams suddenly shot toward him from below. The power was terrifying. Zhongmo. Lu Ming's pupils constricted. He took 4 consecutive steps with the 9 dragons' heaven-stomping steps, and the world rumbled. He blocked the 2 fist radiance, but Lu Ming's body was sent flying into the sky by the huge force. Lu Ming flew up for 1,000 meters before he stopped. He spat out a few mouthfuls of blood and his legs were trembling. Die. The burly man from the blood poison sect followed closely behind the fist radiance. With a roar and a tidal wave of killing intent, he threw 2 more punches at Lu Ming. He wanted to kill Lu Ming at lightning speed so that he would not have time to escape. Exploding star fist. Lu Ming threw dozens of punches in a row. Dozens of fist gleams collided in front of him. After this period of cultivation, Lu Ming's exploding star fist had reached the 6th level. At the same time, Lu Ming's blood meridian burst out and he thrust his spear forward with greater power. Chapter 696. 696 Killing Zhongmo. The 3-colored true dragon let out a deafening roar as it pounced downward. However, Zhongmo was at the 3rd level of the spiritual ocean realm and was simply too powerful. The 2 fist radiances shattered all of Lu Ming's exploding star fist's fist radiances, and the 3-colored true dragon was also dispersed. However, he still managed to block it for a moment. Just this one moment was enough. Lu Ming waved his hands continuously. In an instant, dense runes appeared on his body. In an instant, Lu Ming inscribed 7 inscription arrays on himself. Among them, there were inscription formations for Zhen Yuan explosion, inscription formations to increase speed, inscription formations to increase physical strength, inscription formations to increase defense. With the inscription array, Lu Ming's combat strength increased again. Kill? Below, Zhongmo was unforgiving and his killing intent was like a tide. Little bastard, let's see how you're going to carve the inscription in the air. Zhongmo sneered and his mountain-like fist radiance struck toward Lu Ming. It was impossible for an ordinary inscription master to inscribe a large inscription formation in the void. Only a rank 7 true inscription alchemist could inscribe an inscription formation in the void and exert its effect. This could only be done with a terrifyingly powerful spiritual power. Lu Ming could not do it now. He was inscribing inscriptions in the void, and the inscriptions would disappear very soon. Back on the seven-colored island, the seven-colored Taoist had once carved a large formation in the void, and his methods were unfathomable. Boom! Lu Ming could not be bothered to waste his breath on him. He struck down with his spear. The huge spear's gleam was as big as a mountain, and it pressed down on the space, causing it to tremble. Lu Ming had added 7 types of inscription arrays to this spear attack. Furthermore, he had used all his strength. Even an expert at the peak of the first level of the spiritual ocean realm would be crushed to death by this spear attack. Boom! The spear radiance collided with the fist force, and a huge force exploded. Now! Lu Ming pressed on the long spear. With the help of the recoil, Lu Ming's body drifted backward, retreating thousands of meters in an instant. He felt his qi and blood roiling in his body. Blood seeped out from the corner of his mouth, but he couldn't care less. He used the 9 dragons' heaven-treading steps, turned into a stream of light, and flew into the distance. Damn it, don't run! Zhong Yimou roared and chased after him. However, the 9 dragons' heaven-stomping steps was extremely fast, and with the help of the formation, his speed was even faster. It did not take long for him to leave Zhong Yimou in the dust. Lu Ming flew more than 10,000 miles in one breath and landed in a forest. Then he waved his hands and destroyed all the surveillance arrays in the forest. After Lu Ming devoured some top-grade spirit crystals, he stood up immediately with a cold glint in his eyes. This guy must die. A murderous glint flashed in Lu Ming's eyes. He waved his hands and started to inscribe runes and arrays on the ground. The inscriptions continued to sink into the ground. It took Lu Ming half an hour before he stopped. Kid, you're really vicious. You carved 36 killing formations in one go and added an illusory formation to cover it up. Even if that guy is a 3rd-level spiritual ocean realm martial artist, once he steps in here he will definitely die. Dandan grinned. Isn't this even more satisfying? Lu Ming smiled. Cool, of course it's cool. Kaka, let's go and lure that guy here. I can't wait to see him. Dandan sneered, her eyes shining. Lu Ming rose into the air and went back the way he came. He did not conceal his aura at all. There were no surveillance runes in the air, so he was not afraid of being discovered by the underground humans. After flying for a few thousand miles, a burly figure flew over at high speed. It was Zhong Yimou, but his clothes were in a mess and he looked a little disheveled. It was obvious that he had encountered the underground humans along the way. Little bastard. Zhong Mo's eyes turned red the moment he saw Lu Ming. He chased after Lu Ming with a murderous look. Lu Ming pretended to be shocked. He turned and ran. Zhong Yimou chased after him. In the process of escaping, Lu Ming pretended to vomit blood again. Little bastard, you're already injured. You can't run away. Instead of dying in the hands of the underground people, I'd rather kill you. Zhong Yimou sneered. Lu Ming did not say a word. He ran with his head down. The two of them, one in front and one behind, soon crossed thousands of miles and arrived at the place where Lu Ming had set up the array. Lu Ming flew down and started running in the forest. Haha, you're running out of true qi, right? This time you're dead. Overjoyed, Zhong Yimou also descended and chased after Lu Ming. However, after running for a while, Lu Ming suddenly stopped and turned around. A strange smile appeared on his face as he looked at Zhong Yimou. For some reason, when Zhong Yimou saw Lu Ming's smile, his heart suddenly tightened and he felt a little scared. He could not help but stop. Little bastard, why are you not running anymore? You know you can't run now, right? Zhong Yimou took a deep breath and shook off the inexplicable feeling. He sneered at Lu Ming. Run? Why are you running? I'll stay behind and send you on your way. Lu Ming smiled. What big words. Zhong Yimou shouted coldly as his true yuan exploded, and a terrifying aura emanated from his body. Bang! At this moment, Lu Ming suddenly took a step forward. As he did so, dazzling inscriptions appeared where Zhong Yimou was standing. The densely packed inscriptions interweaved and were filled with a dazzling beauty. However, Zhong Yimou wasn't in the mood to appreciate this beauty. His heart sank as he roared and rushed forward madly. Buzz! With a whooshing sound, a huge sword was formed and slashed at Zhong Yimou with a terrifying aura. Then huge swords formed in all directions and slashed at Zhong Yimou. And this was only one formation. Following that, inscriptions kept flashing and 36 inscription formations were activated one after another with shocking power. You little bastard. How dare you set up an inscription formation here? You're despicable. Zhong Mo roared. Aha, I'm despicable. I'm an inscription master, and inscription masters use inscriptions to fight. Also, you're only at the 3rd level of the spiritual ocean tier, and you're going against me, a peak king tier. You still have the face to call me despicable? Lu Ming sneered. He took a few steps and countless inscriptions appeared. All sorts of attacks erupted. Flames, storms, ice, swords, sabers. All kinds of attacks instantly drowned Zhong Mo. In the formation, Zhong Mo roared repeatedly, but after a while the roars disappeared, leaving only the sound of inscriptions raging. A moment later the formation fell silent and the light disappeared. Zhong Mo was no longer in the formation. Zhong Mo had completely disappeared from this world. All that was left was a storage ring. Lu Ming stretched out his hand and the storage ring was absorbed into his hand. Then he turned around, rose into the air and left the place. His expression was calm. He knew that Zhong Mo was dead the moment he stepped into the formation. The scariest thing about an inscriber was that they could set up a terrifying formation with enough time. If they had enough time and materials, it was even possible for them to kill an enemy 1 realm higher than them. Of course, the formation you set up must first be undiscovered by the enemy, and the enemy must step into the formation to be useful. Moreover, in a real battle the enemy would not give you that much time to set up an array. In a real battle, an inscription master would rely on an inscription array that could be cast instantly. Chapter 697. 697 Chapter 697 Destined Person. The formation that could be cast instantly determined the combat power of an alchemist. Right now, Lu Ming's instantaneous attack formation could kill a 1st-level spiritual ocean tier martial artist. Therefore, it was normal for Lu Ming to spend half an hour to set up the chain formation and kill Zhong Mo, who was at the 3rd level of the spiritual ocean tier. If he was given more time, he could even set up an even stronger formation and kill even stronger Sea of Soul realm experts. Of course, that would be if the other party stepped into the formation. Lu Ming continued to fly forward. On the way he encountered a few underground humans riding on giant wolf puppets. Lu Ming had to use the 9 dragons heaven-treading steps to shake them off. Every team has a puppet equivalent to the 4th level of the spiritual ocean realm. Lu Ming was in deep thought. The 4th level of the spiritual ocean tier was much stronger than him. If he encountered them he could only run. This won't do. We can't continue blindly like this. We have to catch an underground human and find out what's going on with the underground world. Lu Ming pondered. Of course he could not fight it head-on. He still had to rely on inscriptions. Lu Ming chose a place and began to inscribe runes. This time, Lu Ming spent 3 hours setting up 81 level 5 rune arrays. There were also 3 illusionary arrays that covered up the traces of the inscription array. Then he rose into the air and randomly chose a direction to fly in. Soon he saw a group of underground humans riding on giant wolf puppets. People from outside the earth, stop. With a loud roar the group of people charged at Lu Ming. Lu Ming turned around and ran. Soon he arrived at the place where the array was set up. He landed on the ground and ran forward. The underground humans also landed and chased after them on their giant wallevers. After chasing for a while Lu Ming suddenly stopped. Die. Lu Ming's eyes flashed coldly. He took a step forward and the array was activated. Countless inscriptions intertwined and enveloped more than 100 underground humans. Damn it, this person knows inscriptions. We've fallen into his trap. Break out, break out. A burly man riding on a giant wolf puppet at the 4th level of the spiritual ocean tier roared repeatedly as he charged to the side. However, what he was greeted with was endless attacks. Damn it. The burly man's hand moved and a picture scroll appeared. After he unfurled it, a light screen enveloped the burly man. Inscription scroll. Lu Ming's gaze flickered. Other than the Great Khan, there were also some other people who took out inscription scrolls, defensive scrolls, offensive scrolls, and various other scrolls. They controlled the puppets and kept attacking. However, Lu Ming had spent 3 hours to inscribe the array here. There were a total of 81 of them. How could it be so easy to break through? For a time, there were constant rumbles, and the underground humans could not rush out at all. These underground humans also practice martial arts, but their martial arts cultivation is much lower than their inscription cultivation. It seems that their martial arts cultivation is only to assist their inscription cultivation. Lu Ming controlled the attacks while observing. Among them, A few underground humans with high cultivation bases were drawing with their hands. They were actually inscribing a large inscription array to resist Lu Ming's array. True Ming Refinement Master. Among the 100 people, Lu Ming saw at least 5 true inscription refiners. There were even 2 6 extreme true inscription refiners. Amazing. The subterranean humans are so advanced in the Tao of inscription. The number of true inscription masters is really high. Those puppets are too hard. Let's kill the subterranean humans first. Lu Ming waved his hands and controlled the inscription array to attack the underground humans on the puppet. Miserable shrieks rang out continuously as more and more underground humans were killed. My friend from beyond the earth, we have no ill intentions. We just want to invite you to the Heavenly Wolf tribe for a chat. You don't have to be so ruthless. The strongest man shouted. Lu Ming sneered. He had no ill intentions. There were more than 1,000 of them, and less than 200 of them had escaped. The rest had all died. How could they have no ill intentions? How could Lu Ming believe it? He focused on controlling the formation. The beautiful inscriptions glowed and turned into a terrifying killing weapon. One by one, the underground humans were killed. Of course, he controlled even more attacks, aiming at the strongest underground human. The 81 great formations revolted, and their power was terrifying. Not long after, only 2 of the more than 100 subterranean humans were left. The others were all dead, including the strongest man. Even those lower-grade puppets had been shattered, and only 5 spiritual ocean-tier puppets remained. Lu Ming controlled the array to calm down. He looked at the 2 survivors with a cold gaze. The 2 men's faces were pale, and their eyes revealed endless fear. Of course, Lu Ming had deliberately left the 2 of them behind. What should I ask next? What are you going to answer? Or else die? Lu Ming looked at the 2 of them. Outsider, don't even think about it. One of them roared. Lu Ming's eyes turned cold. With a wave of his hand, a ray of spear light shot out and nailed the man to the ground. Then he looked at the last man and said, "How about you?" I'll tell you everything, please let me go." The man shouted. This person was a middle-aged man. He was tall and thin and he looked quite shrewd. "I'll let you go as long as you can give me a satisfactory explanation." With that, Lu Ming walked to the few puppets that had not been destroyed. With a wave of his hand, he put away the 5 giant wolf puppets. Then he grabbed the tall and thin man and left the place. As they flew, Lu Ming asked the expert some questions. The tall and thin man naturally told Lu Ming everything he knew and explained to the best of his ability. He was afraid that Lu Ming would be dissatisfied and kill him. A day later, Lu Ming sat cross-legged on a green rock on a mountain peak. As for the tall and thin man, Lu Ming let him go. It didn't matter if he let him go, since the other party didn't know where he was. So this really is the underground world, and it's divided into so many tribes. Lu Ming muttered and recalled the words of the tall and thin burly man. The underground world was divided into many human tribes. The one that Lu Ming and the rest had encountered before was called the Heavenly Wolf tribe. It was just one of many tribes. Thousands of years ago, the humans here only knew some shallow martial arts cultivation methods. But thousands of years ago, the ancient ancestor of the underground humans descended and passed down the Tao of inscription, greatly increasing the battle strength of the underground humans. However, after the ancient ancestor passed down some inscription techniques, he fell into a deep sleep on the holy mountain. This sleep lasted for thousands of years. After the ancient ancestor fell into a deep sleep, the various tribes fought one after another. The underground world fell into chaos and thousands of years passed. However, there was a legend in each tribe in the underground world. That was, one day someone from the outer world would descend, and one of them would be the chosen one to awaken the ancient ancestor. If a tribe obtained this chosen one, they would receive a great reward from the ancient ancestor. Therefore they went around to capture Lu Ming and the rest. So that was the case. Lu Ming's mind became clear. Ancient ancestor? Holy mountain? The chosen one? What's all this about? Lu Ming frowned and pondered. He had asked the tall and thin man, but he did not know either. Most of the information was just legends. He only knew where the holy mountain was and had even given Lu Ming a map. Chapter 698. 698 The Red Leopard Tribe. Lu Ming took out the map and looked at it. The underground world was very vast and was divided into hundreds of tribes. The Heavenly Wolf tribe was located in the south. The Holy Mountain was in the center of this land. We've come here for the Martial Emperor's treasure. The entrance to the chaotic astral ocean must have been set up by someone. The ancient ancestor of this world suddenly descended several thousand years ago. Could that ancient ancestor be the one who set up that entrance? Or perhaps, the ancient ancestor was a martial emperor? At the thought of this, Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. However, if he was really a martial emperor, why was he hiding in this place? And it had been sleeping for thousands of years without waking up? Lu Ming realized that the martial emperor's treasure was not as simple as it seemed. According to the tall and thin man, all the tribes were trying to capture the extraterrestrials, hoping to find the destined one. In more than a month, the Underdark humans would hold an ancestral worship ceremony. All the tribes would bring the extraterrestrials to the Holy Mountain. Only the destined one could pass all the tests and finally awaken the ancient ancestor. It seems like I can only go to that Holy Mountain if I want to know the secret. However, Lu Ming looked at the map and frowned. There were dozens of tribes between the Holy Mountain and the Heavenly Wolf tribe. If he were to rush there, he would have to avoid the pursuit of the various tribes along the way. He didn't know when he would reach the Holy Mountain. Also, where is Xian Yanqing now? How was it? Lu Ming was very worried. Let's rush to the Holy Mountain first. Lu Ming kept the map and waved his hand. A giant wolf puppet appeared on the mountain peak. This was the giant wave puppet that was equivalent to the 4th level of the spiritual ocean tier. Dandan, how do I use this puppet? Lu Ming asked. Although puppets were a branch of the Tao of inscription, Lu Ming had not come into contact with them. It's simple. Puppets are actually very similar to spirit weapons. They can be called a different type of spirit weapon, but there are still some differences. To control a puppet, it's very simple. You just have to erase the imprint of its previous owner on the puppet, then inject your mental energy into it to control the inscription on the puppet. Then you'll naturally be able to control it. Dandan answered. Oh. Lu Ming placed his palm on the giant wolf puppet's head. A wisp of green mental energy fire seeped into the giant wolf puppet's head. Lu Ming discovered that the inside of the puppet was engraved with dense inscriptions. These inscriptions interweaved with each other and were extremely profound. Lu Ming sighed. The path of puppets was extremely wonderful. He had even heard that there were powerful puppet masters who could even create puppets with consciousness. They could learn and think like humans. That would be amazing. Lu Ming used his mental energy fire to erase the imprint of the puppet's previous owner. Then he spread his own mental energy fire into a large inscription array in the puppet's mind. Immediately, a wonderful feeling welled up in his heart. He felt that he could control the puppet at will. With a thought, the puppet roared and spread its wings. It soared into the air and circled around before returning to the mountain peak. The rate at which mental fire is being consumed is truly shocking. Lu Ming's gaze flickered. Controlling a puppet consumed a lot of spiritual energy. Without enough spiritual energy, it was difficult to control it. The higher the level of the puppet, the more mind power it would consume. However, at every level, Lu Ming had lit up 10 mental lamps, all of which had reached perfection. The strength of his mental energy was very shocking. He was much stronger and much thicker than many rank 6 true inscription refiners. It should be enough to control this puppet at the 4th level of the spiritual ocean tier. Lu Ming flew up and sat cross-legged on the back of the giant wolf puppet. The giant wolf puppet rose up and flew into the distance towards the Holy Mountain. He only needed to consume his spiritual power to ride on the puppet. The puppet's speed was greatly increased. Soon he had flown for tens of thousands of miles. From the map, he had already left the territory of the Heavenly Wolf tribe and entered another tribe, the Red Leopard tribe. Roar. Just as Lu Ming was flying over a mountain range, roars came from all around the mountain range. Hundreds of figures flew up into the sky and surrounded Lu Ming. These people were dressed like those from the Heavenly Wolf tribe. They wore animal skins, but the puppets they rode were different. The puppets they were riding on were crimson cheetahs. It also had wings and could soar in the sky. The Heavenly Wolf tribe? No, it's an outsider. At the forefront was a young man in his late 20s. He was burly and muscular, exuding an explosive aura. He was staring coldly at Lu Ming. Lu Ming frowned. He did not notice that there was someone below. The other party must have used an array to cover up their aura. This person is actually riding on a divine-level puppet from the Heavenly Wolf tribe. It seems like he definitely knows the Tao of inscriptions. We have to be careful. Beside the young man was a red-haired old man. He's alone. What's there to be afraid of? The young man snorted. Chi Feng, the clan elder, has instructed us not to attack these outsiders if possible. We still need their help. The old man said. I really don't understand why the clan elder is so polite to these outsiders. He could have just captured them and forced them to go to the holy mountain. There's no need to go through so much trouble. The young man said coldly, appearing extremely overbearing. The old man laughed bitterly and did not say much. He looked at Lu Ming and said, "Little brother, you must be an outsider. We have no ill intentions. We just want to ask you to return to the Red Leopard tribe with us. We need your help." Lu Ming frowned. He had heard the conversation between the other party. However, how could he trust the other party? "Get out of the way, I don't want to start a pointless killing," Lu Ming said coldly. "Slaughter? What big words. Let's see how you're going to kill them all by yourself." The young man's face darkened. "Charge." Lu Ming could not be bothered to waste his breath. He controlled the giant wolf puppet and charged towards the first test. Roar. The giant wolf puppet howled and its claws were as sharp as blades as it slashed forward. The terrifying power tore apart a few cheetah puppets. "It's a 4th-rank divine puppet. Elder Crimson, you go and delay it. The others will surround it. If it continues to resist, just kill it," the young man coldly shouted. The elder was helpless. He could only control the puppet to charge forward and fight Lu Ming. The old man's cheetah puppet was equivalent to the 4th level of the spiritual ocean realm and was extremely powerful. Sparks flew as it fought with Lu Ming's giant wolf puppet. The others used all sorts of arrows and runes to attack Lu Ming. "Little brother, you're only a heaven-grade alchemist. You won't be able to control a 4th-grade divine-grade puppet for long. I advise you to surrender. I promise I won't hurt you," the old man said. However, Lu Ming did not say a word. He continued to punch out with both fists. The fist radiance of the exploding star fist rumbled the air and blasted forward. Some of the weaker puppets were killed by Lu Ming along with the humans. However, it wasn't just the old man who had a Sea of Soul realm puppet. There were 7 or 8 other people who had one, and those who could control them were all 6th-rank inscription masters with all kinds of inscription scrolls on them. Chapter 699. 699 Battle of Inscriptions. Lu Ming could not rush in at all. It's too disadvantageous for an inscriber who hasn't reached level 7 to inscribe an array in the air. However, with the strength of my mental energy fire, I don't need to reach level 7 to be able to inscribe an array in the air. Lu Ming was deep in thought as he fought. To the surface. With a thought, Lu Ming controlled the giant wolf puppet to rush to the ground. The others tried to stop him. Thump. Boom. Some of the puppets in front of Lu Ming were knocked away by the giant wolf puppet. Gakudo Path Attack. While he was still in midair, Lu Ming launched a Gakudo attack. He turned into a ray of light and broke through everything. Several Martial King realm puppets in front of him exploded. Lu Ming stepped on the ground. He stomped on the ground and runes appeared on the ground. Clang. 2 swords appeared in the air and with a single slash the puppets were cut in half. How could this be? He could control a 4th-rank divine puppet and even inscribe a great formation? How can his spiritual power be so strong? The old man was shocked. Thump, thump. The giant wolf puppet knocked aside a bunch of cheetah puppets and appeared beside Lu Ming. Lu Ming's footsteps became faster and faster. Runes kept flashing on the ground and all kinds of attacks were launched in all directions. Use the inscription scrolls and blast him. The young man roared, giving orders from the side. Many people took out inscription scrolls and opened them. All kinds of violent attacks poured down on Lu Ming. Lu Ming took a few steps forward and layers of light screens were formed. However, with a shake, these light screens shattered one after another. After all, the inscription formation was an instantaneous one and its power was limited. It couldn't block the attack of some powerful inscription scrolls. Now, all of a sudden Lu Ming's eyes gleamed. He stomped his foot and a dazzling spear's gleam shot towards the young man. Some of the puppets in front of the young man and the people on them were either shattered or sent flying. At that moment, Lu Ming mounted the giant wolf puppet and charged towards the young man. His target was this young man. This young man seemed to have a high status. As long as he could take down this young man, he would have a chance to escape. Not good. The old man's expression changed drastically. He wanted to help, but it was too late. The young man's expression changed drastically as well. He retreated quickly and controlled the puppet under him to charge at Lu Ming. At the same time, an inscription talisman appeared in his hand. Bang! The youth's puppet had the strength of the first level of the spiritual ocean tier, but the giant wolf puppet sent it flying with a single slap, almost exploding. 9 dragons trampling the heavens. Lu Ming took a step forward and appeared beside the young man in an instant. Before the young man could open the inscription talisman scroll, he grabbed the young man's throat with his claw. Around him, the movements of the others came to a sudden stop, stopping in the air. "Brat, let me go, or I'll make you die without a burial ground." The young man roared and threatened Lu Ming. He felt very aggrieved. At this time he was in the air and Lu Ming had grabbed his vital parts. He had a body full of inscription Dao, but he could not use it. "Your life is in my hands and you still dare to threaten me? I only need to use a little force now and you'll be dead." A cold glint flashed in Lu Ming's eyes and a cold killing intent emanated from his body. The young man felt a chill run down his spine as if he was about to face death in the next moment. His heart trembled and he didn't dare to say anything more. The giant wolf puppet flew over. Lu Ming carried the young man and stepped onto the back of the giant wolf puppet. "If you let me go, I'll naturally let him go." Lu Ming scanned his surroundings. "All right, we'll let you go. Let's go," the elder said without hesitation. The crowd parted to create a path for Lu Ming to fly through. "Now, quickly release Qi Feng," the old man said. Qi Feng was this young man. "What's the hurry? I'll let him go after I've flown some distance." Lu Ming controlled the giant wolf puppet and flew forward. After flying for 100 miles, Lu Ming threw the scarlet peak out and continued flying. "Damn it!" Qi Feng growled as he looked at Lu Ming's departing figure. His eyes were filled with hatred. Lu Ming flew all the way and very soon he had covered a distance of 10,000 miles. Along the way he did not encounter any underground humans. 10,000 miles ahead, 2 crimson cheetah puppets were flying in the air. The 2 cheetah puppets were both equivalent to the spiritual ocean tier, and were both at the 4th level of the spiritual ocean tier. On one of the cheetah puppets was a young woman in her 20s. She had a curvaceous figure, and some of her important parts were wrapped in animal skin, while the rest of her skin was exposed. Her skin was bronze in color, and although she wasn't extremely beautiful, she was full of wildness and had a different kind of beauty. On the other cheetah puppet there was an old man. "Miss, it's too dangerous for you to come out alone like this. Let's go back," the old man said. "Elder Qi Su, it's fine. Don't worry." Just now, there was news from Qi Feng that there was a young man from the outer realm who was extremely proficient in the Tao of Inscription. It's really interesting. Perhaps he is the legendary destined person. I must find him. The young woman's eyes flickered as if she was very curious. "Young miss, according to the news, that person's battle prowess is extremely powerful, and he's also controlling a 4th level divine level puppet. If we encounter him, we'll most likely be in danger. It's better for us to return to the group." Elder Redbeard continued to persuade. "Don't worry, I won't do anything to him. I just want to invite him back to our tribe. If I follow the main group, I'll scare him away. How can we talk? How can we persuade him to come back to our tribe with me?" The young woman didn't listen at all, her eyes looking around. The old man sighed. He knew that he couldn't persuade this stubborn young lady, so he could only follow her closely. Lu Ming sat cross-legged on the puppet and flew forward. Not long after, they had flown another 10,000 miles. What? At this moment he noticed that 2 cheetah puppets had appeared in front of him. On the puppets there was a young woman and an old man. The other party had obviously seen him as well. I found him, I found him." The young woman cheered and controlled the puppet to fly toward Lu Ming at top speed. "Miss, be careful." The old man followed closely. Lu Ming furrowed his brows. He could sense that the 2 puppets were not simple. He immediately controlled the giant wolf puppet to change direction and fly away. "Hey brother, don't go. We don't have any bad intentions. Don't go." The young woman shouted and controlled the puppet to chase after Lu Ming. Lu Ming did not say a word and continued to fly forward. "This brother, we really don't have any ill intentions. Please stop and have a chat with me. I just want to ask you to return to the tribe and help us with something. We will definitely treat you as an honored guest." The woman called out, chasing after him. In the blink of an eye they had flown for tens of thousands of miles. Lu Ming had changed directions a few times, but the woman and the elder were still following closely behind. They were all puppets at the 4th level of the spiritual ocean tier, and their speed was about the same. That woman was like a dogskin plaster that he couldn't shake off. Lu Ming was speechless. He suddenly controlled the puppet to stop and turned to look at the woman and the old man. Chapter 700. 700 Testing the Waters. The young woman and the old man were shocked and stopped as well. Just how long are you guys going to follow me? Lu Ming said coldly. Brother, what are you afraid of? We have no ill intentions. I hope you don't misunderstand. You're an outsider, right? Our tribe just wants to ask you for a favor. The young woman said. I'm not interested. Lu Ming turned around and was about to leave. Brother, all the tribes are looking for you. If you leave our red leopard tribe, you will have to go to other tribes. Some tribes are very evil. If you come to our red leopard tribe and help us, we will do our best to help you if you have any requests in the future. The young woman said. Lu Ming furrowed his brows, pondered and smiled. What's your name? What's your status in the red leopard tribe? I'm Qiyu. The young woman was about to reveal her identity when the old man interrupted her. Miss, don't easily reveal your identity. The old man said in a deep voice. Elder Redbeard, don't worry. It'll be fine. I am the daughter of the Red Leopard tribe's chief. If you follow me back to the tribe, the Red Leopard tribe will definitely treat you as an honored guest. Qiyu smiled and continued. The Red Leopard tribe's chief's daughter? Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. His eyes flashed as he looked at Qiyu and said, How can I believe you? How about this, you come with me to the mountain ahead, I have something to discuss with you. Lu Ming pointed to a mountain range in front of them. No, little brother, your request is too much. How can we trust you? Elder Redbeard shouted. Oh, if that's the case, then there's no room for discussion. Don't follow me. Lu Ming waved his hands and turned to leave. Wait, I'll go with you. Qiyu said. Miss, you can't. It's too dangerous for you to go alone. Elder Chi Su objected. Elder Redbeard, don't worry. I have no enmity with him. He won't benefit from killing me. Qiyu smiled and controlled the puppet to fly towards Lu Ming. Lu Ming's eyes flickered. He did not expect Qiyu to dare to follow him. Lu Ming controlled the giant wolf puppet and flew towards the mountain range with Qiyu in the front and behind. Elder Redbeard could only stand there anxiously. 100 miles away, the two of them landed in the mountain range. Lu Ming's figure flashed and he destroyed all the surveillance runes nearby. I heard that your inscriptions are profound, and it seems like it's true. Qiyu looked at Lu Ming, her eyes bright. Lu Ming turned around and looked at Qiyu with a smile on his face. The next moment, his figure turned into a flash of lightning and he suddenly rushed toward Qiyu. At the same time, the giant wolf puppet let out a low growl and also charged at Qiyu. Qiyu was taken aback. She never expected Lu Ming to make a move so suddenly. She could only control the cheetah puppet to block while she retreated at top speed. She waved her hands continuously and inscribed runes. The two puppets collided into each other and fought fiercely. Lu Ming's figure stopped and he stomped on the ground. Runes appeared one after another and formed a combat sword, slashing at Qiyu. Qiyu's inscription was a huge red cheetah that pounced forward. Qiyu's Tao of inscription was extremely profound and had reached rank 6. She was also a true inscription refiner and had probably lit several rank 6 spirit lamps. She was also very powerful. The two of them finished inscribing the array in an instant, but Lu Ming also had a powerful martial arts cultivation besides the Tao of inscription. Lu Ming pointed his finger and a dazzling spear ray pierced forward, aiming at Qiyu's throat. Qiyu was shocked and retreated again. However, as he retreated, the inscription was interrupted. Lu Ming took a step forward and his figure suddenly appeared in front of Qiyu. He stretched out his hand and clasped Qiyu's throat. At the same time, his other hand held Qiyu's slender waist. Essential Qi surged in and sealed Qiyu's essential core. Qiyu also cultivated martial arts, but martial arts were only auxiliary. She had only reached the first level of the martial king realm, which was far from Lu Ming's. Qiyu's movements came to an abrupt stop, and the cheetah puppet also stopped. Lu Ming made the giant wolf puppet stop as well. Their actions seemed rather intimate. "Brother, don't misunderstand. I really don't have any ill intentions," Chiyu called out. She blushed slightly when she felt Lu Ming's scorching aura behind her. "I know you don't have any ill intentions. Otherwise you would have been dead by now," Lu Ming whispered in Chiyu's ear. His hot breath blew on Chiyu's neck, making her feel a little strange. Indeed, Lu Ming had suddenly attacked Chiyu, but he did not sense any killing intent from her. If Chiyu had any killing intent towards him, she would definitely have revealed it in that situation. "What you said just now, is it true? If I go to your tribe with you, you won't take away my personal freedom, right?" Lu Ming asked. "No, definitely not. Our elders have already passed down the message that we will try to bring you back without any conflict, not by force. After all, we need your help this time," Chiyu said. "Is it because of the person with the heavenly mandate?" Lu Ming asked. "So you already know." "That's right, it's because of this." Chiyu nodded. "Then you'll be going to the holy mountain in a month." "Yes, at that time all the tribes will send people to worship the ancestors. This time, maybe one of you can awaken the ancient ancestor," Chiyu said. "All right, I'll follow you to the Red Leopard tribe." Lu Ming released his hand and took a few steps back. Lu Ming had called Chiyu over to test the waters. If what she said was true, there was no harm in going to the Red Leopard tribe with her. After all, if he wanted to go to the holy mountain alone, he would have to pass by many tribes along the way. It was too difficult. At that time, it would definitely be much easier to go with the Red Leopard tribe. "Really? That's great." Chiyu laughed happily. She then looked at Lu Ming curiously and asked, "Your Tao of inscriptions is so powerful. Although you're only at the peak of heaven grade, you can easily control divine grade puppets and inscribe great inscription formations at the same time. I've never seen an inscriber as powerful as you." "Heaven grade? God level?" Lu Ming was stunned. He had heard others talk about it before. Could it be that the division of realms in the underground world was different from theirs? Lu Ming finally understood after Qi Shui explained. It turned out that the division of the Tao of inscription in this world was different from that of the outside world. They were divided into primary, yellow, black, earth, heaven, and God level. God level was the highest. The divine level corresponds to a rank 6 inscriber, but the divine level is the highest here. Could it be that the highest inscriber in the underground world can only reach rank 6? Lu Ming was very curious. Deity level is the highest level. For thousands of years, no one has been able to break through to the deity level and reach a higher level. It's said that the ancient ancestor is definitely in existence that has surpassed the deity level, and by a lot, Chiyu said with a look of yearning. The two of them flew onto their puppets and chatted as they returned to where they came from. When Elder Chi Su saw that Chiyu and Lu Ming had returned safely, he was naturally very excited. "Elder Redbeard, this is Lu Ming. He's an impressive inscriber," Red Moon introduced. Chapter 701. 701 Sealing the Canyon. Lu Ming and the red-bearded elder nodded at each other. "Elder Redbeard, you should go back to the tribe and report the news. Brother Lu and I will come soon," Chiyu said to Elder Chi Su. "But young lady..." Elder Chi Su was about to object, but when he saw Chiyu's wide eyes, he knew that he couldn't persuade this stubborn young lady. He could only return to the tribe first. "Lu Ming, during the short fight with you just now, I saw that you understood inscriptions and inscription arrays. You should be quite knowledgeable, right?" Chiyu suddenly asked, a hint of hope flashing in her eyes. "It's all right, I guess." Lu Ming nodded. "Kid, what do you mean by not bad? The inscriptions and formations that this lord has given you are almost all that this lord has taught you. Who else in this world has more inscriptions than this lord?" Dandan immediately shouted in displeasure. "Ah, a little turtle like you can actually talk?" Red Moon was startled at first, then her eyes widened as she looked at Dandan curiously. "Of course I can speak. If even you can speak, why can't I? You're so strange." Dandan pouted and looked at Red Moon in disdain. Red Moon's mouth directly opened into an O shape, and he looked at Dandan in a daze, his eyes shining. Lu Ming smiled wryly. During this period of time, Lu Ming had discovered that there were demonic beasts in this underground world. However, the demonic beasts had extremely low intelligence. Martial King Realm demonic beasts were slightly better than ordinary wild beasts. They could not speak at all. No wonder Chiyu was so surprised. Red Moon's eyes widened as she looked at Dandan curiously. Beauty, are you convinced by this Lord's spirit? Let me tell you, this Lord is the head of the top 10 battle beasts, unrivaled in the world, revered in the universe, and unrivaled. Dandan stood on Lu Ming's shoulder, her two front claws on the turtle shell, looking like an unparalleled master. But the next moment, Dandan collapsed. Red Moon reached out and grabbed Dandan's head, placing it in front of her eyes and carefully examining it. I'm so angry. Dandan's four short legs kicked and flew out of Chiyu's hand, landing on Lu Ming's shoulder. Its eyes were wide open and it wanted to eat Chiyu. Chiyu laughed heartily, very forthright. He then turned to Lu Ming. Lu Ming, if you know a lot of inscriptions and formations, you might be able to do our tribe a huge favor. By then the elders of our tribe will definitely treat you like an ancestor. They'll definitely agree to any conditions you have. Oh, what's the matter? Lu Ming asked. This matter has to start from the current situation of our red leopard tribe. Chiyu and Lu Ming began to talk. In the underground world, the battle between the tribes was endless. 60 years ago, the red leopard tribe was still an extremely powerful tribe. The tribe had many experts and was very powerful. They occupied large areas of rich land. At that time, the chief of the red leopard tribe was a renowned expert who had already reached the peak of the divine level, which was the peak of the 6th level. But later, the chiefs of the heavenly wolf tribe, the Een Snake tribe, and the blood tiger tribe joined forces to launch a sneak attack on the red leopard tribe's chief. In the end, the red leopard tribe's chief was severely injured and sealed in a canyon. The red leopard tribe's chief died in that canyon. Not only that, but the red leopard tribe leader also carried the most exquisite inscription secret manual of the red leopard tribe, which was the foundation of the red leopard tribe. Without the inscription secret manual, the follow-up power of the red leopard tribe became weaker and weaker. In the past 60 years, the territory occupied by the red leopard tribe was less than 20% of what it was in the past. If it were not for the support of some elders, it was estimated that the red leopard tribe would have been exterminated by the 3 major tribes. As for the seal on the canyon, it was set up by the 3 tribe leaders. It was extremely complicated, and the inscription formation was unique to the 3 tribes. Unless the 3 tribe leaders worked together to break it, the red leopard tribe would not be able to break it. Therefore, when Chiyu saw that Lu Ming knew so many inscriptions and formations, she wanted him to give it a try. If Lu Ming could break the seal and take out the secret inscription refining manual of the red leopard tribe, then wouldn't the elders of the red leopard tribe treat Lu Ming like their ancestor? Alright, let's go and take a look. Lu Ming nodded. If he wanted to be valued by the other party and if he could give the other party a little favor, it would be the best. Alright. Chiyu was overjoyed. She brought Lu Ming to the place where the previous tribe leader of the red leopard tribe was sealed. According to Chiyu, that place was very close to the red leopard tribe's city, only 100 li away. It was a huge mountain range. There were huge mountain peaks that pierced the sky. They were steep and majestic. There were 2 huge mountain peaks in between, forming a canyon about 10 meters wide in the middle. This canyon was the place where the red leopard tribe's previous chief was sealed. There were experts from the red leopard tribe guarding this place. As soon as Lu Ming and Chiyu arrived at the entrance of the valley, they saw dozens of figures guarding the entrance. Chiyu, it's you? How dare you? Men, kill this person for me. They had just reached the entrance of the valley when they heard a loud shout. What are you guys doing? Stop. Chiyu shouted, and the others who were about to make a move stopped. The corners of Lu Ming's mouth curled into a cold smile. The one who called for a fight was a young man. It was Chi Feng who he had previously held hostage. Chi Feng's eyes were filled with killing intent as he stared at Lu Ming, then at Chiyu. Chiyu, why are you protecting him? This person has killed many of our red leopard tribe's people. He should be executed on the spot for his crime. Chi Feng, the clan elders have said long ago that we should be polite to the people from the outer realm. We should invite them instead of fighting. You were the one who started it first, so Lu Ming naturally resisted. You can't blame him for this. To cut off the only chance for the red leopard tribe to rise? Chiyu was very strong, staring at Chi Feng and loudly questioning. Chiyu? I didn't mean that. Chi Feng's voice lowered. Alright Feng, since the other party has come to the red leopard tribe, he is a guest of the red leopard tribe. You don't have to say anything more. On the side, a long-bearded man in his 50s walked over and said, Sixth uncle. Chiyu called out and sent a voice transmission to Lu Ming at the same time. This person was Qi Feng's father, her sixth uncle, and also the person in charge of guarding this canyon, Pure Gold Mountain. And you, why did you bring this little brother here? This is the tribe's forbidden area. Qi Jingshan said. Sixth uncle Lu Ming comes from the outer world and is an extremely talented inscriber. He has mastered many inscriptions and formations that our Red Leopard tribe does not have. He might be able to break the seal here and take out the secret inscription manual inside. So, I brought him here to give it a try. Jiu said. Hearing this, Pure Gold Mountain's face sank. This place is the Red Leopard tribe's forbidden area. How can we allow an outsider to break in? This is simply nonsense. Alright, you should all leave quickly. Pure Gold Mountain waved his hand. Sixth uncle, taking out the Red Leopard tribe's secret inscription refining manual concerns the rise and fall of the Red Leopard tribe. It's of great importance. Maybe he can really crack it? Chiyu didn't give in. Chapter 702. 702 deliberately making things difficult for her. Pure Gold Mountain's expression turned even gloomier. What a joke. The Red Leopard tribe has been sealed here for 60 years. Even with the help of many divine-level alchemists, we still can't break the seal. He's just a young boy, a heaven-level alchemist. How can he break the seal here? It's impossible. You guys should leave quickly. Otherwise, I'll take it as him trespassing the forbidden area and suppress him. Sixth uncle Lu Ming has not even tried. How do you know that he won't be able to do it? Given the current situation of our tribe, shouldn't we seize every opportunity? Red Moon argued. Impudent, what does a junior know? Hurry up and leave. Chiding the Pure Gold Mountain. I think the seal can be broken. Suddenly, Lu Ming's voice was heard and the scene fell silent. Everyone's eyes were on Lu Ming. Really? Chiyu's eyes revealed a look of ecstasy. Of course. Lu Ming nodded. You're talking big, kid. What are you up to? You want to destroy my Red Leopard tribe's forbidden ground? I suspect that you are using some kind of evil technique to control Red Moon. You are simply up to no good. Men, kill this brat for me. The Pure Gold Mountain's expression was extremely gloomy, and his killing intent exploded as he shouted. Yes. The people guarding the entrance of the valley all waved their hands, and several cheetah puppets appeared on the ground. They were all spiritual ocean tier puppets. The puppet roared and was about to pounce on Lu Ming. Who dares? Chiyu shouted and stood in front of Lu Ming. At the same time, she summoned her cheetah puppet. Miss Chiyu has already been controlled by this evil person. She can't help herself. Quickly attack, kill that brat and save Miss. The Pure Gold Mountain roared. Kill that brat. Chi Feng also roared, his killing intent exploding. Lu Ming's face darkened. With a wave of his hand, the giant wolf puppet appeared and blocked in front of him. He stomped on the ground and waved his hands. Runes appeared on the ground. A great battle was about to start. Stop. What are you doing? At this moment, a loud roar sounded, and a white-haired elder flew over on a cheetah puppet. Second uncle. Chi was overjoyed. What's going on? The white-haired elder arrived and scanned the scene. His face was dark. What's going on? Second brother, that brat has controlled you, and has ulterior motives. I'm about to kill him. Pure Gold Mountain hurriedly said. Nonsense. Second uncle Lu Ming is an inscription master from beyond the ground. He can break the seal of the canyon. That's why I brought him here. I didn't expect sixth uncle to want to kill Lu Ming. Chiyu argued. What? He can break the seal of the valley? The white-haired elder was shocked and his eyes shone brightly. A layer of blue mental energy fire spread out from the top of his head due to his excitement, and his vast mental energy filled the entire area. Don't be fooled by this man. He's just a heaven-grade alchemist and he's so young. How many inscriptions can he master? How can he break this seal? He's simply talking nonsense. Pure Gold Mountain said coldly. Second uncle, why don't you let Lu Ming try? What if it works? This is related to the rise and fall of our clan, so please consider it, second uncle. Chiyu shouted. Chiyu's second uncle was called Chi Jintian. He looked at Lu Ming with a hint of hope in his eyes. Little brother, can you really break the seal here? Lu Ming nodded and said, I've observed it just now. There are 3 different inscriptions in it. The inscriptions are intertwined and there should be more than 100 inscriptions. Although it's mysterious, it has been 60 years. It's not difficult to break it. Lu Ming's words caused Qi Yu and Qi Jintian's eyes to light up, while Qi Jintian's face grew even gloomier. This matter is of great importance. I need to inform the clan leader and the elders. Qi Jintian took out a jade voice transmission talisman and sent a few messages. Then he started to wait. The pure gold mountain knew that he couldn't stop them, so he walked to the side with a gloomy face. Lu Ming glanced at the pure gold mountain, his eyes flickering. This pure gold mountain was very strange. It wanted to stop him from breaking the seal no matter what. Just like what Red Moon had said, this was related to the rise and fall of the Red Leopard tribe. Even if there was a 1 in 10,000 chance, they still had to try. However, Pure Gold Mountain kept stopping him. If it was because of the Scarlet Mountain matter, it was impossible. Just now, when they didn't mention breaking the seal, the Scarlet Mountain was still normal, as if it had intentionally broken the seal. Therefore, Lu Ming felt very strange about all this. Bus. And NBSP whoosh. In just a few minutes, 7 or 8 huge cheetah puppets flew over in the howling wind. There was a total of 8 cheetah puppets, and on each of them stood a person. One of them looked to be in his 50s, and his body exuded a dignified aura. Lu Ming guessed that this might be Qi Yu's father, the chief of the Red Leopard tribe, Qi Jinkong. As for the other 7, they were all white-haired old men and old OU. They should be the tribal elders of the Red Leopard tribe. Greetings to the clan leader and the clan elders. The pure gold sky, pure gold mountain, and the guards all saluted. Father elders. Qi Yu also stepped forward and bowed. Qi Jinkong's eyes were like lightning. He looked at Lu Ming and said, Is he the one you said could break the seal? Although Qi Jinkong was pretending to be calm, he still revealed a trace of excitement. That's right, father. Lu Ming came from the outer world and is the most powerful genius alchemist there. Although he's at the peak of the heaven rank, his mental strength is not weaker than that of a divine rank. Qi Yu stepped forward and held Qi Jinkong's arm as she smiled. The most talented inscription master from beyond the earth. The eyes of Qi Jinkong and the 7 elders lit up. Lu Ming touched his nose and smiled bitterly. This girl was too good at boasting for him. I think you've been deceived by him. It's been said since ancient times that the world beyond the ground is vast and boundless. It's many times larger than this place and has a countless population. It's like sand. How can he be the most talented inscription master? Tribe leader, elders, you must not trust this person. If you make a mistake and cause the formation to explode, destroying the body of the previous tribe leader and the inscription secret manual, then our Red Leopard tribe will be finished. Pure Gold Mountain jumped out to stop him. Sixth uncle. You haven't seen Lu Ming in action. How do you know that his Tao of inscription is not strong? Qi Yu said stubbornly. Since that's the case, why don't you let him show it off? If he wants his spiritual power to be on par with a divine rank inscriber at the heaven rank, he must light at least 7 or even 8 spiritual lamps at every stage. Let him show his spiritual ring. The Pure Gold Mountain sneered. The divine level alchemist he was referring to was, of course, a true level alchemist. At every stage he had to light up at least 6 spirit lamps. This was already very difficult. He did not believe that Lu Ming could really light 7 or even 8 spirit lamps at every stage. Lu Ming, just show it to someone. Qi Yu looked at Lu Ming. She was very confident in Lu Ming. You're tuning in to the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.